relates to this tank.
I'll tell you how it was before. Chinese tank destroyers were introduced at a request from our partners in China. The Chinese adore their national content, you know. That's how the Type 59 appeared in the game, as the first Chinese tank. Then other tanks were introduced, and later became popular in other regions. People researched them, purchased them, etc.
When we announced our plans to introduce new tanks only on the Chinese server, we received many negative comments. Why can't we have them?
We got a large amount of feedback. We want these too. Give us all the content.
That's why we decided to release these vehicles on other servers in the future as well.
First of all, of course, we focused on what players were asking for. We have documented player requests, calculated their number, etc. As for the branch, I cannot say it's unique in any way. We can't demand this from it.
But in terms of gameplay, these vehicles actually differ from the ones we have at the moment. The fact that the vehicles were initially released in China doesn't mean we didn't try to make them unique. We did try, and now players can see if we succeeded or not. In addition, patch 9.20 will bring changes to the top Soviet tank destroyers. The ISU-152, Object 704, and Object 268. The Object 268 has long stopped being relevant for a number of reasons. The key problems are that its shells fly pretty slowly, and its gun has poor horizontal angles. We increased shell velocity and the gun constraints, and now you'll feel much better playing this tank. These figures may seem insignificant at first, but take a look at the situation with the Chinese 121 tank. The elevation and depression angles of its guns were increased by only 1.5 degrees, but it became a virtually new tank, and playing the 121 is much more convenient now. The same thing will happen with the 268. As for the Object 704 and ISU-152, things are more complicated here. In the ISU-152, we decided to change the gun a little. We fitted this vehicle with another gun, the D4S. The new gun deals the same alpha damage, 750. That's the peculiarity of Soviet vehicles. They have large alpha, a big hammer, but the penetration capability was decreased to 260 millimeters. It's still very high, but you won't be able to penetrate Tier 9 and 10 vehicles using the auto-aim. So we wanted to preserve this progression. You get the D4S, then BL-10, and then M64, for the Object 268 if I'm not mistaken. The sequence of penetration capacity and other characteristics of these guns is preserved. The Object 704 underwent hardly any changes. The tank still has the BL-10 as its top gun, but it received the D4S as an intermediate gun. The penetration capacity of the D4S is also pretty large, 260 millimeters, so you can play with it pretty conveniently too.
As for the Soviet medium tank branch, primarily the T-44 and T-54, it was high time to buff them, which we actually did.
In the T-44, we changed turret armor, stabilization, penetration capacity, and other specifications. The things that held back its effectiveness in battle. The T-54 underwent some massive changes. We all remember that before the Cockroach, as we called this tank, was reworked into HD, it could block damage with its turret pretty well. This is similar to what happened with the T-44. After the vehicle was reworked into HD, it basically lost its primary strength, the turret. We decided to fix this, and now the armor of the T-54's turret is similar to what it was before. Consequently, you can now play your turret with this tank as you used to do a few years ago. Besides this, we tweaked both of the T-54's guns, the primary and the alternative ones. We brought them up to date.
We provided the T-54 with an alternative gun to adapt the vehicle for different playstyles, based on distance or based on maneuvers.
The T-54's main gun, the one it had from the very beginning, has long become outdated. It had 2.9 seconds of aiming time and very poor stabilization. Playing the tank was really difficult. We upgraded the gun, improved stabilization and aiming, so that it feels great in battle. I think many players will start using it again when picking the T-54. The alternative gun, in its turn, is tailored for fighting at a closer distance. Its penetration capacity isn't that good, but the gun has excellent damage per minute. This gun is the king of close-quarters battles. So with the T-54, you can now experience two completely different gameplay styles. Play it in totally different ways.
There were many questions about how we were going to draw a line between the Object 140 and T-62A in terms of gameplay, and what we were going to do with the Object 430. We decided not to overhaul the whole branch at once. We'll see how the new T-44 and T-54 are doing, and only then we'll decide if we should divide the roles of the T-62A and Object 140, and most importantly, what to do with the Object 430. These vehicles will undergo some changes as soon as we've come to a decision and tested different variants of their behavior. Of course, this would be logical, especially concerning gameplay of the T-62A and Object 140, but it's easier said than done.
The simplest thing to change in the Object 140 is to reinforce the armor on its roof. Besides two pretty big cupolas on the turret, the tank also got penetrated through the roof. We decided to fix this, and now it's more difficult to penetrate this vehicle.
Since this isn't the last iteration of changes in Soviet vehicles, specifically in medium tanks, we aren't afraid that the Object 140 will immediately become more attractive and take away some of the T-62A's popularity. Firstly, the T-62A is a pretty convenient, good tank. Secondly, if needed, we can tweak the T-62A as well. We do have a goal to make them more different in terms of gameplay. It's just that we won't do this now.
Our players have long been waiting for changes in one of the oldest tanks in the game, the IS-7.
However, some people are saying that the new Chinese top-tier tank is better, and we don't need the IS-7 anymore.
Many people say it's not so good. This isn't quite true. Nevertheless, the IS-7 did need some improvements.
We simply had to improve the IS-7, I mean the entire tank, giving it more hit points, leveling up other characteristics.
And we'll do this. The tank will reach its maximum speed faster, feature improved dynamics, and have 2,400 hit points, which is 250 more than it had before. In addition, the tank will snap onto a target a bit faster. Now its aiming time is just 2.9 seconds. And there's more HP, better mobility, and good armor, which will make the IS-7 a lot more effective on the battlefield. As a matter of fact, at the public test, players will be able to check out the changes and give their feedback, which we will study very meticulously.
Of course, we also modified some premium vehicles, such as the T-44-100 and the T-54 first prototype. We do realize that players have high expectations from us. We have many questions and problems concerning premium vehicles with a preferential matchmaker. And after the new matchmaker was implemented in the game, they lost their competitive edge. Previously, these vehicles were tailored for special conditions, but we will definitely deal with this issue in the future. And we didn't forget about the KV-5. At the moment, we're carrying out experiments on how to get it right in every way. As soon as we're ready, we'll definitely show and tell you what we've decided to do with it. Plus, there are many issues with the grille. As a matter of fact, we were ready to launch one of the variants of its improvement either in Update 9.20 or in the next patch. But then, I'll be frank with you, we decided not to hurry and conduct additional internal tests for the variants of the grille's modification, profound modification. Consequently, you shouldn't expect the grille to be rebalanced or changed for something else until the end of the year. We continue to work on it.
All these balance fixes will make gameplay for many vehicles much better and improve irrelevant branches. People who once researched these vehicles will be able to return to them and enjoy playing them much more than before. We do believe players will like these fixes.
As a player, of course I'm happy. I have all Tier 10 vehicles in my garage, and frankly speaking, the M48A1 Patton has been one of my favorite tanks for a long time. As a matter of fact, 9.20 is an update without serious nerfs. I mean, radical ones. Indeed, many vehicles were reworked profoundly, but the general trend is their improvement. So we either buffed or seriously rebalanced vehicles. That's what we did. However, this doesn't mean that the next patch that follows 9.20 will be full of nerfs, which we postponed and moved from this update to the next one. This means that we will continue our systematic work on rebalancing the current branches.
We carefully study all the feedback on the changes that we've implemented. So we're waiting for you in the public test. Waiting for your comments.
So welcome to the other side of the tank, the gunner driver's position. It has just been described to me as a very easy tank to drive, but not an easy tank to drive well. I was reading one of the British Army reports described the ride as akin to that provided by a camel because of the pitching effect caused by the short track base. Now, what he doesn't say is where he found a camel to make the comparison to, but what can you do? Steering is done by use of the T-bar. You would almost be familiar with it from the M1 Abrams, except instead of the twist being the throttle, that actually controls the elevation. The accelerator, or foot throttle, is located down by your right foot, where you would expect, and the brake is large on the left. Again, this is not a vehicle for short personnel. I do think I would be able to drive it, but I would not want to drive it for long. In event that this primary steering system fails, he does have two alternate control handles, and that's a far more traditional steering system with a clutch brake. Now, I say clutch brake, and that is actually one of the techniques for getting this thing to turn quickly. Now, if you're sitting still and you simply traverse the handles, the vehicle will take about 12 seconds to do a 180-degree rotation, which is not bad, but it's not great. However, if you're driving along at a fair clip and then you pull hard with the controls, you're going to do what's called the clutch brake steer. And this will basically get you from pointing one way to pointing the other way in 2 seconds flat. And if combined with, say, the Commander's stabilized seek system, you can actually put onto targets off to your side probably faster than a conventionally turreted tank. Because, I mean, you simply take the second to swing over to the right and then you're on to the delay phase, as opposed to traversing the turret all the way. Of course, fire on the move is not really an option on this. There is something in the manual about 200 yards, but no. Maximum elevation and depression are 11 degrees in practice. You'll sometimes see 12 and 10, but it's because the gun is mounted 1 degree offset from the hull. Other controls to his front. Now, of course, in addition to driving, and he does have the rev counter and speedometer in front of him, the primary sight. He has the Unity optic, which of course is also used primarily for driving. He has one additional optic for driving, Unity, off on the left-hand side. For the right, he is at the mercy of the Commander's guidance. His field of vision forwards is actually pretty good because you have that long sloping front, so the amount of dead ground is actually very small. And if he really wants to see close, he can even nose the tank forward, and then he'll see right up close to the tank. It's much better visibility than pretty much any other tank out there. Inside the primary sight, there are 2 circles. Each circle represents the field of vision for the different range scales. So your basic sight is a by 6. Then you can go to a by 10, and then even a by 18, which is pretty reasonable. The primary sight, you can adjust the interocular distance, and of course focus for the two. The reticle inside is complex, and has been unfortunately disparaged because of it. It consists of armor-piercing scale every 200 yards after, or meters, I'm sorry, every 200 meters after 600 meters, as far as about 2200. The HE scale goes every 100 yards up to 4,000 meters, and you also have the machine gun scale. Then you have additional points of aim depending on whether or not you expect a 5 km/h crosswind or a 10 km/h crosswind. There is no particular cant correction in the vehicle. The vehicle will not tilt side to side if you're firing on the side of a hill. Instead, in theory, what you're supposed to do is look at an inclinometer, and it will tell you how much you are keeling over to one side, and you aim off accordingly. In actuality, especially if you're firing AP, just aim center mass. The tilt is not likely to be sufficient to cause any significant change. And if you're firing high explosive, well, you just fire again. The T-bar controls also control, obviously, the gunnery system, the various knobs and switches, a switchology as you might call it, cannon and machine gun selector, safe and fire, elevation, lock or free, and then you have the controls for loading the two different magazines, a ready light when you are loaded, button on the right for the laser rangefinder, button on the left is fire. Finishing off in the front area here, we have bore sight controls for vertical and horizontal adjustment. There are filters, so if you have sun glare or something like that, you can deal with that problem. Also allows better contrast maybe in certain lighting conditions. Now, the problem with having only the one primary sight is that it's actually very difficult to determine whether or not your gun tube is clear of the berm that you're hiding behind. On, let's say, an M1, there's a coaxial telescope right down by the gun. If you see dirt, you know you can't fire. If you see sky, you know you're probably good. So short of practice, or when you're in a position, getting out of the tank, dropping the breech and looking through the tube, you have no way of knowing for sure. A couple of other little neat tricks about the sight. One is that when you fire, there is a shutter. For about a half a second, the sight will close off and blank out, and this will stop the gunner being blinded, especially if he's shooting at night. Another interesting feature is you can attach a gun camera. You simply mount it underneath, and you can record the engagement as you're going, either for if you want it for kills, or more likely just for gunnery training is probably the best use. Today, of course, you have the through camera sight, which is remotely transmitted. The loading cycle is about 3 seconds, a little bit less, but in practice your engagement times are probably going to be a little bit longer, partially because of obscuration and partially also simply because the tank is rocking backwards and forwards. But if you maintain pressure on the trigger as the tank is firing, it's basically a follow-through, what will happen is the suspension will figure out where it is compared to where it was, and it will resettle on the last point of lay. Now, one of the nice things about the autoloader is that all the ammunition is immediately accessible. So you fire your engagement of, let's say, 10 rounds. If you're on a Centurion or something like that, you're now scrambling around trying to find the other ammunition scattered around the tank and restowing the loader's ready rack with it. With the S-Tank, the autoloader, every round is available until you run out of ammunition completely. The gun itself is a 62 caliber length modification based off of the British L7 rifle, and this added a little bit more velocity, a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more punch. The Swedes did build their own ammunition. Transmissions. The early model vehicles had a two-stage transmission. You had a low gear for rough terrain and you had a high gear for easy going. In order to change from one to the other, you had to come to a complete halt, which is a little bit of a nuisance. By the C model, they've now changed it. It is very simply forwards, neutral, and back. Just to the rear of it, we have an inclinometer. It shows you whether or not you are actually level, and as you can see, we aren't. We found a stowage position for one of the universal tools. And if you look straight down, there is an escape hatch for the driver, about the size of a moderately large New York pizza. So that's pretty much how you drive it, in theory. Let's take it for a spin.
And push start. Well, that seems simple enough. Oh, it's very easy.
Good evening and welcome to week number 3 of the WGL APAC Extended Season. Now, those of you with keen eyes among you may have noticed there is something interesting going on here today. Obviously, I am Jordan Mays, and joining me, I've got a very, very special guest, Safi. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks, mate. Good day, guys.
It's going to be exciting to have you here. Obviously, Safi playing from Team Efficiency, or maybe not playing for Team Efficiency at the moment, but he's here, and we're going to be watching some WGL APAC today. So looking forward to today, Safi. I think we've got, well, I would say a couple of good matches, but to be honest, I feel like the first one might be a little bit of an interesting one here. We've got obviously 7 Pirates and Lupin as match number 1. Yeah. Wargaming and Caren coming up after that, though. That one I think is going to be a pretty good match.
Looking forward to that one.
That one is the one we're really looking forward to, but obviously 7 Pirates and Lupin, first one to start things off here. Sort of, what's your initial thoughts on that one?
I would say that one is pretty hard to judge because 7 Pirates we don't know much about. We don't actually know who the players are. We haven't seen them on land. We don't know who's sitting behind there. It's really hard to judge them. We've seen them a few games. They looked good the other week on Sand River. You could see they've obviously been training with EL. A few of the tactics came from there, but it's really hard to determine where they're at and where they're sitting right now in the ladder. They obviously beat CT. Yeah. But then CT...
Yeah, like how much emphasis can you really put on that matchup? Because to me, I don't know, like I'm not a professional World of Tanks player, but to me it did look like Caren was a little bit messy in that one.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Caren maybe have not started too well so far, and hopefully we see them improve as well. But
well, hopefully tonight, because they're up against Wargaming. I mean, currently they're down 0-3. I suppose technically they do have one match win they got for free off Last Memories forfeiting in week number 1, but they could very well go down 0-4 in the first 3 weeks of WGL APAC.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that yesterday actually when we had a chat, and I just went, oh, that's right. CT is struggling. It's tough for them at the moment. But I think, look, from 7 Pirates and going back to 7 Pirates and Lupin, I think Lupin did really well last week. I think they played pretty well. Better than what I expected because I know they haven't been training too much. Right. So I think, I think it's going to be a decent game, but I would expect 7 Pirates to.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of leaning on the same sort of a thing as you. I mean, I'm feeling like 7 Pirates are looking quite comfortable at the moment. That victory over Caren, admittedly, Caren was a little bit shaky in that matchup. I still think kind of signifies whereabouts they might sit here, and to me, that feels as though they're probably sitting a little bit above Lupin. But in saying that, I mean, Lupin did beat Caren last week as well. Interestingly enough, both teams getting the 5-4 victory over CT last week. So that's maybe a little bit of an interesting storyline. But coming into this one, I still feel as though 7 Pirates have, as a general rule, looked a little bit better than Lupin. I mean, again, like you said, we haven't seen much from 7 Pirates, but we did also see them against Good Trades in that Silver Mavericks promotion match where they kind of just wiped the floor with.
Really good, yeah.
They looked really good in that one. So, I mean, you can kind of put all of these pieces of the puzzle together, and I think we're still kind of trying to build what our vision of 7 Pirates is at the moment. Yeah. But they are, in my eyes at least, a little bit a touch above Lupin.
I would say they're a little bit above it. To be fair, I think the whole season, as it is so far, is pretty hard to determine where the teams are sitting. Like, I know you mentioned last week, you have a pretty good idea. Obviously, EL is still the number one team. Yeah. We have no idea where we are at the moment because we don't even play the game. Sitting here casting instead, which good to be here, guys. But yeah, I think I would rather be playing.
We'll see how he goes.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we're back on there soon as well. And then we obviously have CT from last season, who did really well last season. This season they're
Yeah, it's kind of like you can draw a little bit of a parallel there between B Gaming of Season 1 and Season 2.
Yeah.
From Caren Tiger from Season 2 to Extended Season.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they come in, we expect them to be really good and contend for that, maybe even top 2 position.
Yeah.
And then they kind of just come out like, what? Like, we didn't expect this at all. But obviously here to talk about Seven Pirates and Lupin.
Yeah.
We sort of expected coming into this season that Lupin was going to be the weakest team in the region. We weren't really sure where Seven Pirates was going to sit, and now we're kind of feeling like Seven Pirates is going to be a little bit above Lupin. How much further they're going to be above them, or whether they're going to be above a team like Last Memories. For me, I think it's probably looking like Seven Pirates is sitting in at least 6th. Maybe even a little bit higher, depending on how Horsemen, depending on whether Caren Tiger can get their stuff into gear.
I think this game will be really good in terms of determining where both the teams are sitting. We get to see a little bit more of Seven Pirates. We get to see if Lupin not only did, once again, and this is not to take anything away from Lupin, I felt that CT probably lost the game more than Lupin won the game last week, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. CT should just win that game.
Yeah.
But I think if Lupin backs it up this week, well, maybe all of a sudden they've started putting in some training without us knowing about it, and they might be competing with Seven Pirates and Horsemen. Again, we don't really know where Horsemen is either, so
yeah,
it's really hard. It's really hard. Now that I'm sitting here, I started to realize maybe it's not that easy to predict early on in the season. But
yeah, see,
anyway.
Now we're going to see how many people bully you in Twitch chat. All right. Anyway, we might make it a little bit easier for your first prediction here. Let's have a look at the map vetoes first before we get underway with our predictions here. So, I don't know if you've come into this one kind of expecting anything out of these two teams, but Cliff and Sand River, I don't think we've really been too keen to see Seven Pirates on that. They haven't played it too much. To be honest, I'm a little bit actually surprised to see Seven Pirates getting rid of Cliff, because that's been the perma veto of Lupin so far this season.
I don't actually know. The question is, has Seven Pirates studied them? Do they know the map picks, or are they just coming in playing the game?
Well, I think if they're vetoing Cliff away, they don't know the map picks, because you could bet your bottom dollar that Lupin was going to get rid of Cliff. They have banned it every single time they've played. So I think they've made a little bit of an error in the veto there. But to be fair, we have seen Seven Pirates vetoing away Sand River as well, so maybe they could have just flipped, and we would have ended up with the exact same vetoes anyway. But let's get into the map picks. Muravanka, the first one coming out. Now, this is an interesting map for me this season, Saf, because last season we didn't see really many teams very keen to get onto Muravanka, but now it's actually one of the most played maps.
Well, I think if you look at, especially for probably APAC, I would say that a lot of the teams here are less inclined to play, once again, the first map that got banned, Cliff. A lot of teams don't like it. We personally enjoy it as a team, obviously because there's a lot of back shots, there's a lot of mobility, and that's how our team likes to play. But I know a lot of the teams feel that that's probably a 1-1 map, and it can be hard to set up because some teams just go straight in full YOLO. So Cliff is obviously normally a ban. Sand River is still a very new map, and I don't know how much teams have trained on it, and therefore that's automatically kind of becoming a permaban for a lot of teams, it seems like. So therefore you end up seeing Mura a lot more. Yeah,
definitely. Himmelsdorf, the other map choice there, that one's from Lupin. I don't mind that map pick coming out from them. We haven't actually seen Seven Pirates on it so far this season, and Lupin have played quite a bit of it this season so far, and they have actually looked fairly decent on that map. Like they got some good matches against Caren Tiger on that one. So far they're at 43% overall on Himmelsdorf, but I mean, I think for a team like Lupin, 43% is actually not too bad on that map. So Himmelsdorf, their first choice. Cliff, apparently the second veto as well there, so I'm not sure what's going on. But Ruenberg, the obvious one taken away there by Seven Pirates. Again, fair enough. Apparently Ghost Town was the one there instead of Cliff. So Ghost Town and Ruenberg being taken away. Not really too much to comment on there. Lupin getting rid of Ghost Town is a little bit of surprise, I think, given that Ghost Town is a map that I think they've had some success on.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they would get rid of Ghost Town, especially since I think they like Himmelsdorf from just seeing how they set up. And they've always been a fairly heavy team, even when they were Dark Wolves back in previous season. You would see them bring in 2-3, 2-1-5B, some maps like Prokhorovka and so on. So you would think that they would like to stay on a heavier map, but yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, you could make an argument nowadays that Mines can be played as a heavier map as well, but that's obviously not Lupin's choice. They've gone for Prokhorovka here, which I'm not so sold on. I think they probably would have been better off on Ghost Town. Prokhorovka, we haven't seen much from Lupin this season. They've only played it once, but they did lose it. That was obviously them playing on the attack. Again, can't read into it too much, I don't think, at this point. So Muravanka, Himmelsdorf, Proc, Mines, and then Muravanka as the tiebreaker map. Some very open map picks, generally speaking.
I think this probably suits, from me, from just watching the team so far and the gauge that I've got of them, I would say that this probably suits Seven Pirates better than Lupin. But once again, yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. So, Himmelsdorf, I feel like that one could maybe go 1-1, maybe 2-0 even for Lupin if they're on their day. But again, like, we haven't really seen Seven Pirates on it, so don't know what's going to be coming out from them. Lupin, you know, they've got some fairly good strats, I think, on Himmelsdorf. And we did see them last week even. They had the E3. Tekka in the E3 was looking really, really good on both sides, actually, of Himmelsdorf.
Did they go 2-0 or 1-1?
I'm pretty sure they went 1-1.
1-1, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Himmelsdorf, again, I think is a good pick for them. Once again, they run heavy setups, so therefore city maps, I would think, is their forte.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they've got some good heavy tank players. Like, I've already spoken about Lambert in the past. I think he's probably the best heavy tank player on that roster. Yep. And generally speaking, like, as a whole, I think he's probably up there in terms of, you know, he'd be decent in terms, like, you could put him into any kind of team, right?
Yep.
If they all spoke the same language, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And he'd kind of fit in really pretty well if he was sitting in a heavy tank. So I think he's one of the better heavy tank players in the region, despite being on a team like Lupin, which is kind of down towards the bottom.
Yeah, spot on. I don't think it's just necessarily that it's what type of tanks they like to play. It's also the pace of the map. If you train less, a slower map where you can run more heavy tanks, it gives you a bit more time as a caller, and you can sync the team a little bit more because it takes a longer time for the heavy tanks to move. If you compare it to a map like Cliff, where
you have to be on board,
just
5 seconds and you're dead, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, well, we've spoken about the maps. Now let's think about our predictions. This is the all-important part of the show, Saf.
Yeah.
My prediction here is going to be 5-2 in the favor of Seven Pirates. I think they're probably just a little bit more well-rounded as a team. I can see maybe Himmelsdorf, maybe Mines. One of those maps could go over to Lupin, but we'll see what happens.
Yep. So
I don't know if you have a kind of a differing opinion there, but for me, it's Seven Pirates 5-2.
Fair enough. I think I went for the same prediction, which was 5-2, if I remembered right.
Copying
and I remember you going copycat.
Just trying to save face.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
cool. Well,
all for one, one for all.
Yeah, indeed. So this prediction is 5-2. We know what's going to happen for the next game series. That's going to take you out.
Okay, all right. We'll keep that one for later on the broadcast. Yeah. But yeah, we're both in agreement. I don't know what production thinks. I'm hoping that they've got a good prediction for us here as well. 5-3 is what they say to Seven Pirates. I think that one's fair enough. To be honest, if I had a second prediction, I probably would say 5-1 Seven Pirates.
Okay.
I think that, you know, it's probably going to swing more towards Seven Pirates than it is towards Lupin.
Fair enough. So you would go against production again, would you?
Always, man.
Yeah.
Even though...
remind me, how's production going this season?
They are actually winning. I think they're like 14 points in terms of... So the way our predictions work, right, you get 3 points for a perfect prediction. So let's say Seven Pirates go 5-2 here. You and I get 3 points. Production's going to get 1 point because they chose Seven Pirates.
Yeah.
So far they're on 14 points, and I'm sitting on like 7 or 6 or something.
So in theory, depending if we reschedule games, I would only have to make maybe 2 more appearances here coming back casting.
Oh,
I would beat you for the season.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Maybe if you keep copying my predictions, there's no way you're going to be able to leapfrog me.
This is true.
Yeah. So, yeah, we both think that Seven Pirates is going to win here. By how much is, I guess, the question, to be honest. But we have said the same thing for a lot of teams against Lupin. I mean, Caren Tiger, we sort of said, this should be a pretty easy one. This should be a blowover. Caren Tiger maybe 5-1, 5-2. How much are they going to beat Lupin by? And then they end up losing. So there is always the upset potential here, I think, for Lupin.
Well, there is. And we played them in week 1. I know we made a few individual mistakes. Honestly, we probably, if you look at it just on paper, we probably shouldn't go 5-2.
Well, when I said on broadcast, I thought you guys probably should win 5-0 against a team like Lupin. But then I said, my prediction's 5-1 anyway, because you guys are going to throw a game.
Yeah, which we always
Well, then you threw 2. So
okay, yeah, exactly, spot on.
Stabbed me in the back again.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
What can I do?
No, but I think again, it's hard to judge the teams right now. I'll give it to you. It is a bit of a challenge to get predictions 100% spot on early in the season. But I'm probably leaning actually the other way from you. I think production might be closer to a 5 more on the money than a 5-1.
Okay.
Just going to put it out there.
All
just
right.
to back myself a little bit. So
yeah, well, we'll see what happens here. We're going to end up with 7 Pirates, 5-4, losing to Lupin or something like that. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would be hugely surprised to see Lupin picking up a match win here. Like, I would be surprised, but I think I'd be less surprised by 7 Pirates losing to Lupin than I would be surprised by Caren Tiger losing to Lupin, for example.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, Lupin have I almost feel like Lupin is looking better this season than Dark Horse did last season.
Yeah, I probably agree. Actually, I would definitely agree with that as well. They seem to be just a little bit more organized. They don't seem to bleed as much HP as they did when I remember a few times watching them last season. I was literally face palming and going, what are you guys doing? So there seems to be less individual mistakes. I'm actually not sure if they've done any changes to the roster. Dark Wolves is one of the, or Lupin is one of the teams that I haven't really
they have
paid much
one.
attention to.
They've got Tekka in, which I'm pretty sure is a new player. But apart from that, I don't think they're like.
And he's been performing pretty well.
Very well, actually. Yeah. I think he's the top damage dealer for Lupin, and across the whole region, he's sitting like up in the top 10. I'm pretty sure. Now, admittedly, we are only a couple of weeks in, so these things might end up evening out, and he might drop down. He might even stay there. Who knows? But I definitely think so far he's been a good player for them. Predominantly been sitting in like E3s and heavy tanks. I really like him on Himmelsdorf. So when we do get onto Himmelsdorf here, I think we should watch out for Tekka in that E3, playing kind of that pillbox area around the northern flag, or of course the beeline down from the hill if they're on attack. So those are the two things that I would watch out for Lupin on Himmelsdorf. Muravanka, I'm not so sold about Lupin on Muravanka. I think you guys actually played Muravanka against Lupin, and I didn't think that Lupin looked very good on that map. It seemed like they were kind of lost.
Yeah, again, Muravanka is also a map, depending on how you play it, it's very quick decisions on, especially on the defending team, how you're going to push back, because you don't want to split the team too much and get caught with an overmatch if you're on the other side of the map. Yeah. And you could tell that Lupin didn't seem to sync too well on Muro. I would almost expect Muro to go 2-0 to 7 Pirates.
I could definitely see Muravanka going 2-0. Then, of course, we get onto Himmelsdorf, which is where I think Lupin probably want to get that 2-0. Like, that, to me, is their best chance out of all of these maps here. Yep. Admittedly, we did see them get a pretty good result against Caren Tiger on Mines last week, where, well, Caren Tiger kind of threw, I think, one of those rounds on Mines at least. But, you know, Caren Tiger's generally speaking a pretty good team on Mines, one of the best in the region, I would say. And for Lupin to be able to pick up a map win on that one is pretty impressive. So for me, it's like Prokhorovka. Depending on how Prokhorovka goes here, you know, we either shift to that 5-2, 5-1, or we've shifted to the 5-3 for 7 Pirates. So I still favour 7 Pirates overall, but, you know, there are opportunities here for Lupin. And again, if they pick up an upset round on Muravanka, you know, maybe some sort of luck goes their way, they just gamble. Mines is the first map? Okay. It's been swapped. So Muravanka is the 4th map, Mines is the 1st map, apparently. Okay, so I feel as though that actually might be favourable for Lupin. So maybe, you know, they have a bit of a better chance here if we end up not getting to Muravanka, but I feel like that's probably a little bit difficult to predict. But anyway, let's find out how Mines does go. This is the map choice of 7 Pirates. We have seen Lupin on this map. They generally play heavy tanks on Mines, so let's see what they go for. Mouse, a couple of 5As, bat chats, TVPs. It's not as heavy as I would have expected actually out of Lupin, and a little bit heavier out of 7 Pirates.
Yeah, that's I would say it's a fairly standard setup of both teams. T100 going out into K2 to block spot, but it's a quick push by the bat chats, so let's see how the light tank goes.
Very quick cross here from Lupin as well. Tekka in that bat chat, Revolution and Barsak as well, following up, and they get across for free. No one from 7 Pirates has managed to do that, and that might be a little bit of a sense of deja vu there for Lupin.
Yeah, thanks for that one. let's all agree we blame Bales on that one. But yeah, no, you're shooting cross with back chats without taking any damage whatsoever. That's not good at all for 7 Pirates. But in saying that, 7 Pirates don't have anyone. Lupin don't have anyone to dig the light tank out from the 3 line, so he's pretty safe where he's at the moment.
Yeah, and you can see shots now starting to come across here from 7 Pirates as well. Obviously, these Lupin tanks are being spotted up by Nice and Spring. Guanren, they've all got shots on there. I mean, Rabbit, if he pushes forward, but if he does push forward out of that position, he's going to take shots from the hill. So expect him to probably just stay pretty safe back there. Lupin with control of the mine as well. So they've got a fairly decent control across the map, actually.
Yeah, they have a good map control, but they're still not in a position where they can push anywhere. They can't push across because 7 Pirates have both the E4 and the bat chat back in K5, so that's a no-go zone. They have the IS4 pretty nicely positioned H5, which is probably the tank that they want to try to dig out, or they need to start rotating with the bat chats back across the 1 line, unspotted from the light tank, which I'm not sure they can.
We are actually on the new patch as well, so what that means is that 0-line boost is not really an option anymore, is it?
I think we saw it on NA yesterday. I know I didn't actually watch any of the streams because I was obviously actually up here for work, but I think someone linked me a clip of someone from, I can't remember the team, who tried to do the E9 boost, and he got absolutely obliterated. Yeah, it's possible. Like, you can do it still, but it's a lot more risky. That's the problem. And now we're going to see Lupin starting to push forward. Tekka, the one taking the shots here, Nice has been spotted out, obviously, and they look like they're actually going to be able to get him out of there. Yes. Haven't taken too much for it. They've taken a few shots, but it's not a 1-for-1 trade, so overall, I'd say that's probably favourable for Lupin. Yeah, indeed. I think what they need to start looking at now, though, is to rotate the back shots back. Because, again, to push them forward towards K5, they're going to bleed a lot of HP. I don't think there's a need to do that. They they got the light tank. They have all the vision now. They could even potentially look to get a tank up on the boost. Do they have a light tank? No, they don't have a light tank, so that might not be a viable option.
Well, you can actually boost the bat chat up, but you need to actually push it.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of sacrifice the second player over in that part of the map. It takes a bit more time. Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily an option for them at the moment, given the fact that we do have a couple of the Seven Pirates players watching that angle. Both the Mouses, I think, are just sitting below the hill there, Spring and GRB. Particularly given the fact that the bat chats are all very low on HP as well. Like, if you had a full HP bat chat, you might be able to gamble it, but you know, you've got Revolution, your highest HP, 1,000. He takes a shot from a mouse, then he's probably a one-shot for the mouse.
Yeah, Lupin needs to make sure that they don't trade away any more damage on the bat chats. They'll need them for a later push, and they need to start dealing some damage as well. They need to start, as I said, if they don't have any shots right now, if the bat chats keeps getting spotted while they're shooting and taking damage, they need to stop. They need to get their heavy tanks a little bit more in the game. And because right now it looks great for Seven Pirates. They don't have to do anything. They can just sit there and trade heavies versus bats, and bats will struggle penning at that distance. Yeah,
that's what they've been doing so far. I mean, only 4 minutes have gone by, really. So Lupin still has plenty of time to play with here. They can continue to explore this, I suppose, this 1-2 line for like maybe the next couple of minutes. But by that stage, that's when they need to make their move. I mean, I feel like if you move in with less than 4 or 3.5 minutes left in the game, you kind of run the risk of sometimes not having enough damage, not having enough time to deal that damage and take your opponents out, and you just get timed out. So, I mean, Lupin have still got time here.
Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of a Revolution starting to pulling back a little bit as well. I think Revolution is their caller as well. And I would probably like to see them putting a little bit more pressure towards the 9-0 line as well, and just try to push the Mouses back and see if the bat chats can get any shots there. Because right now they're not doing anything. They're not gaining any control. They're not getting any damage dealt. It's pretty much just a standstill right now, and they need to start making a move pretty soon.
You know, there's still quite a lot of health to chunk through on that Seven Pirates roster. When you take 2 Mouses, an IS-4, a couple of E4s, I mean, it's a lot of armor, really.
If they push in now, I can't see them taking 7 Pirates. They haven't dealt enough damage to actually be able to put a push in, because 7 Pirates have the 2 E4s. That's straight away. Anywhere between 1,400 and 1,800 damage straight off the bat.
Well, Barsak's a one-shot, Tekka's a one-shot, Revolution's a 2-shot. So maybe an E4 and another bat chat shot, and Revolution's down. There's quite a lot of players that Lupin can lose very, very quickly on a push, and that's not the case for 7 Pirates. So Lupin, they just need to try and catch someone off guard and clip them out. But like you said, there's not really an avenue where they can catch one tank without taking shots from somewhere else.
Spot on. And the problem now as well is that they've taken a bit of a while to start the rotation that I said before with the 8-9 line. You could see Fury already moving from spotting up through the middle. He's already relocated spot through the 8-9 line. So even pushing the 8-9 line now is going to be rather painful. So I'll be interested to see what their plans are. They've left... No, actually, it looks like Basak is rotating back as well now.
Yeah, but he's lit here. So if he does take this cross, there's a chance that someone from 7 Pirates is going to take a shot. Actually, he's going to go back behind there and wait till he's unlit before he does opt to go for that cross. If he opts to go for that cross, but even if he does, Guan Ren should spot him out.
Yeah, he shouldn't. He shouldn't cross back. You have Guan Ren spotting there. You have you know there's an E4 at K4. There's nothing you can do unless one of his teammates can push back the IS-4 so he doesn't light.
Don't think there's anyone really in a position to be doing that for Lupin. Now 3 minutes 45. This is kind of crunch time here for Lupin.
Yeah.
Like what I was saying, if you go in with less than 3.5 minutes, then you are running the risk of not having enough time to clean up your opponents. And basically, from this point on, Lupin needs to play this one perfectly. They need to clip out this mouse straight off the bat, allow the bat chats to reload. No one needs to go down. They need to continue moving forward from there. But I just don't see it happening. I mean,
yeah, I don't want to sound negative, but I would say this is already game over. They just don't. They can't push it through, and there we go. There's Fury. There's 600. What was it? 604. 694.
Yeah.
694. Still a low roll.
Yep.
But that's 694. That's 425 with the mouse. He's going to keep going forward. And he's going to lose another 1,000 HP in the next 10 seconds.
And where's the rest of the push from Lupin? At the moment, it's literally just Pro pushing forward and taking free damage from 7 Pirates. There's not really anything else going on the map. You can't see those guys on the beach pushing forward into the TDs. There's no one pushing off the middle hill. Cheatpot is kind of there to back up Pro, and Lambert is also trying to do something from up there. But to be honest, I don't think Lambert's going to be particularly effective in that position. Maybe he can get some shots onto the tank destroyers that are sitting up in the back, and he is onto Fury. But
and there goes the mouse.
Really, what does it matter when you've lost a mouse now pretty much for free?
Yeah. Honestly, I think they might even have been better to push and lead with the mouse down the 3 line at some stage, rather than splitting up the team, especially when they have 2 back shots isolated down in K3. That's not been able to do anything. But again, they bled too much HP early on. That's the key thing. And then 7 Pirates had the mouse.
Well, Revolution's making a play here. 361, not a great roll for him, but still will get rid of Guan Ren.
Yeah, he should go down in the return though.
And he will. Rabbit's taking a bit of damage here. Spitz missing a shot there, and that would have been the killing blow really onto Rabbit. And might have been enough actually to swing this back in the favor of Lupin, but now Rabbit, he's got a chance to reload here. 30 seconds, kind of running around in no man's land. And he's spotted, but doesn't look like anyone's got shots.
Yeah,
there we go, Lambert does have a shot. So maybe there's something in this one here for Lupin. Spitz is still alive. Tekka, though, does get taken down by Lao Wu. Still a 4v4, though.
Yeah, this is a 4v4. The problem is they have 2 mouses sitting next there, and they need to start taking that HP down quickly.
Neither of those mouses has a particularly large health pool at the moment. 1,500, 1,300. I mean, it's a decent amount, but that's 2-3 shots, depending on who they're coming from. And Lambert, you know, he's got a big alpha gun, 490, decent DPM. If that 5A survives for another 30 seconds, he's going to be able to take these mouses down, or at least get them to a one-shot where the Batchats might be able to clean things up.
Yeah, the problem is he's on there
he's on
his
fire
own
as well.
Yeah, which is bad luck. But again, Baslak and Spitz, I'm not sure what Spitz is doing while Lambert would YOLO down on his own into 2 mouses when there's no one else there. What's the medium tanks doing?
They're having a beach holiday.
Yeah.
At the moment, Baslak gets a nice shot onto Lao Wu, but he needs another 2, 3 even, depending on the rolls.
And both of them are 1 shot for the E4. There goes the TVP.
That's the game over.
Yeah.
The game was over when Lambert died, without anyone else really getting anything done while he was tanking a bunch of damage. So, kind of an anticlimactic sort of a start, really. Like, that was a very, very slow game on mines. And Lupin, you know, they started off okay. They got control of the beach. They took out the light tank. But what did they do following that? Really nothing.
Yeah, the fact that they crossed over for Frey is a perfect start, but then again, I'm not sure how they lost so much HP to taking out the light tank. I think they've lost, dropped 2 Batchats to half health?
And 1 to, I think, one shot.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So they lost a fair bit of HP, that is for sure. I mean, I don't think there's too much to break down about that, really, apart from Lupin just didn't really seem to know what they needed to be doing on the attacking side there.
Yeah. Pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Well, now we get to that point where me and Alex start talking about what was for dinner last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What did you have for dinner last night?
What did I have for dinner last night?
KFC.
KFC, that's right. Yeah, sorry about
that. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes on the defensive side for Lupin. Now, obviously, mine's defensive side, maybe you can touch on this a little bit easier than I can. A lot of the time, you'd probably favor the defensive side on mines.
It's funny because probably a season and a half ago, you would say the defense was very heavily stacked, and then you started seeing teams from both mainly RU and then EU starting to come up with ways of breaking the defense. And I would say that it's probably almost turned into an attacker's favor for a short period. But yes, it is a hard map to break if the defending team puts up a
I think particularly now, given that the zero line boost has kind of been nullified a little bit as well, that even swings a little bit more in the favor of the defense.
Yes, well, that's the thing now. With the boost gone, it's... pardon me. With the boost gone, it's definitely harder to attack. But in saying that, it's also a little bit harder to defend as well to that degree, because you can't get the free damage from the boost into the middle tanks. So when you used to give up the heal, you would still have a tank up on the boost that could deal damage to the attacking team and slowly bleed him out. With the boost gone, I'll be interested to see how it plays out.
Is there not still a boost from the defensive side?
There is a boost as well, but once again, you probably need a light tank to do it, and it takes a lot longer. So if the attacking side takes, say, 1 or 2 TVPs, it's very, very risky. Both boosts are very risky to do early on.
Right.
I'll be surprised if we see them as commonly as we did last season when we saw Batchats every single game.
Every game.
Boosted.
Yeah. I mean, even the start of this season, we pretty much saw someone up on the boost 9 times out of 10. Yeah. Even both sides at the same time, sitting up on the boost, kind of just had a bit of a stalemate.
It's such a strong position. Yeah. It's extremely strong, and once you're up there, you have free shots across half the map.
I mean, maybe we can discuss that as well. Like, for example, steps. There was a lot of boost on steps, and the meta did become pretty much you have a guy on the boost, and if you don't have a guy on the boost, then you lose almost. So I think that's part of the reason why we don't have steps in the pool anymore.
I cry every day.
I know, it was one of your best maps.
Yes, it was one of Team Efficient's best maps.
If not the best map.
And I don't know how many hours I spent on doing the boosts, and obviously my teammates were very quick at laughing at me because of that now. So how do you enjoy spending all those hours now with the map gone? But yes, same thing with steps. Steps, all the boosts broke steps. That's what it comes down to. It was almost impossible to attack on that map. Yeah. So now it's gone. It's a bit of a shame because they blocked the boost. Yeah. I'm not sure if they made a mistake in blocking the boosts on mines as well, because they obviously didn't do a great job with it.
Yeah.
But we'll see how the map plays out over the next couple of weeks, and we'll definitely see some more interesting attacks probably from EU and RU as well. Because at the end of the day, that's where most of us APAC teams get our ideas from as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, EU and RU, I think they've only had their first week last week, or this week, technically. So I think there's still a little bit of room to grow here for us in APAC. I mean, obviously, week number 3, we've seen what we've seen, but when EU and IU start developing some strategies around these new maps, even Sand River, I think there's a lot to have a look at from the other regions.
Yeah.
You know, maybe week 5, week 6, we start to see Sand River starting to creep into teams' map pools a little bit
Well,
better.
I'm hoping so. Actually, so far from training Sand River and playing a bit on it, I don't actually mind it as a map.
Right.
I've kind of enjoyed it. I would say that it's a defensively minded map, but at the same time, there's so much room for the attacker to float around on, and that's what us as Team Efficient loved on Stepped as well.
Right.
That there's so much of the map to move and navigate on, because we prefer fast tanks.
Yeah.
We're not a big fans of sitting statically and defending. Because we don't have any patience.
Yeah.
Everyone in the team wants to shoot.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I'm a little bit sad that we don't see Steps anymore. You know, my ideal world would be take out Muravenka, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of Muravenka.
I'm not a big fan of Muravenka either, but I like Muravenka at the same time because it plays out differently. Of APAC, it's not as exciting because everyone just goes for the same cap.
Yeah.
No one has actually spends the time to do what you know your teams are, which is learning all the bushes. How do you clear the bush side and play on the whole map? But I still like Mura as a map. I would probably rather see Rumenberg go, if anything, because Rumenberg is such a defensively strong map. It's almost like it should be a 1-1 every day of the week.
Yeah.
Unless we play on it and we're 4-0 up, we'll probably throw one game.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, not a fan of Rumenberg.
Seen that before. Yeah, Rumenberg, I don't know. Anyway, we're not getting to see Rumenberg in this series. Perhaps between EL and Caren Tiger, although Caren Tiger has been videoing away Rumenberg pretty much every single time they've played so far this season. So there's something in that for that one. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Lupin here on the defensive side, you know, again, we haven't seen too much out of Lupin on Mines. A little bit, but not too much. So we'll see how they go here. Again, a little interesting here, actually. Maybe now we can talk about something. IS-7s has had a recent change in the newest buff. A little bit newest buff. In the newest patch, it has a buff. The IS-7, I think, has its place now in WGL. Ooh, a lot of shots going over there, but no real damage.
3 batch shots. Yeah, only 1 shot of damage. That's actually really good. The fact that they got 3 across. I'm not sure why they feel that they need 3 across on the island. I'm guessing it's because they've seen that 7 pirates have already and they want to take control of that side of the map very quickly. But it's still very risky, and they're very lucky that they got away with just 1 shot. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the IS-7s here? I mean, I feel like we're very likely to see IS-7s, and I'm not entirely surprised to be seeing it on Mines because it obviously can play quite nicely hull down on the hill here. But how often do you think we're going to be seeing IS-7s? Like, is it going to be kind of an every match kind of thing, or is it maybe going to be a bit more of a pocket pick?
I still think that the WZs and the 113s will be the meta go-to tanks.
Yep.
I actually haven't played the IS-7 too much, because we obviously have our ping issues, so I haven't really been playing that much pub games at the moment. Plus the patch obviously came just this week.
Well, Saf, if you want to take my expert opinion on the IS-7, I played 10 games before it got buffed, and I've played about 30 games since it got buffed.
Yes.
And it's pretty awesome now, actually. The gun handling, it feels a lot better to me. I was playing with a couple of other guys, and they were saying they felt like the IS-7, the biggest buff for the IS-7 was actually the move speed buffs. But to me, I feel like the gun handling is actually much, much nicer now. You know, the speed of the IS-7 to me was not an issue when I was playing it. It was more the gun handling. So now you get less of those shots that just like poo out of the tank onto the ground.
Well, you say that, but if you go back and watch my latest stream where I played the IS-7 on, I think it was El Haluf.
Never lucky,
Yeah, never lucky. That game was just, a bit of a laugh across myself and the viewers. So honestly, I don't have an opinion on the IS-7, but with the buffs on paper, I would say that we're going to see at least 1 or 2 per game.
I do like it. Anyway, that's my takeaway from it. A lot of damage going over to 7 Pirates at the moment. We saw that Bat Chat over on the beach taking a fair chunk, and now Nice, in his mouse, is now almost a one-shot, probably a one-shot. Spitz has to fall off there by taking a big chunk of damage. But 7 Pirates have gained control of this hill now.
Lupin's WZ on D6 is in trouble.
Tekka and Barsak making a move now around the 8 line as well. These guys are going to come around the back, need to come up with something big. Already the first kill of the game does go the way of Lupin, but Guanren trading one back onto topping, really waiting for Tekka and Barsak here. This is the important thing.
Good. The TVP's on reload. The backshot only has 2 shells. They should be able to clean out the WZ very, very quickly now.
Yep. Not just the WZ. They should be able to clean out the mouse here too. There is a lot of damage in those clips, but artillery shot.
Yeah, they shouldn't focus on the mouse though. They should clip out the WZ and then straight up take the hill. Leave the mouse for last.
Ooh, good shot onto Tekka.
Very good shot.
Is it going to be enough for GRB to get the kill? Yes, it is. So that's actually pretty nice for 7 Pirates. They still have the health advantage here, but a tank disadvantage. Guanren and Lao Wu off the reload now, but Lao Wu...
Lambert driving so far forward?
I think he was looking for the kill onto Guanren.
Okay.
But he wasn't able to get it. rolled 4 damage too low, which is a little unfortunate for him. Fury now taking a bit of damage. The ammo rack damage for him as well. Don't know. Yeah, he must have had a repair kit. He's reloading pretty quick here. So, yeah, Lambert might get punished for this little bit of over-aggression.
Yeah, I think he overextended a little bit there. I think both i7s might have overextended a little bit, but is the back chat on the hill coming off reload? One of them is coming off in 2 seconds.
Yeah, Guanren will be very soon as well, so see a bit of an explosion of action shortly.
Yeah, there we go.
That's big as well, because Guanren was just about to be off the reload. Revolution as well takes down Lao Wu, who I think had 2 shells left in that clip as well.
Yeah.
Fury's got no chance here in the mouse. There's nothing you can do when you've got so many players around you, and, well, Rabbit in the Conqueror gun carriage, I mean...
I can't say I will shed a tear when I see him go down, sitting there in his CGC at the back of the map.
Yeah.
But like I said, though, they went in. They did well. They went in. They took the hill. They got the WZ. It took a bit longer than it should have to get rid of the WZ. But then they took control of the hill. They left the mouth. I'm not sure if the i7s really needed to push in that aggressive, but it worked out well in the end.
Let's see what Rabbit can do here. Can he get a kill onto someone? Just to make things exciting.
You can do it.
Hey.
No, never lucky.
Barstak taking one for the team.
Yeah. Is he on your fantasy team?
No, he's not.
Okay.
Actually, the only Lupin player on my fantasy team is Tekka. I was impressed by him last week. So.
Yeah. No, he did well. Yeah, he did very well. I remember on Himmelsdorf. That's where he stood out a little bit for me. So, but there we go.
1-1. I think that's probably what we would have expected going into Mayans. Both of them picking up the defensive side as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure why 7 Pirates decided to go with a CGC. It's risky. But for me, if we're playing against a team that we don't expect to be on top or one of the top teams, I think I would, for myself personally, and I think most of the guys in my team would agree, that we'd rather just go in 7 full tanks because we're confident that we can beat them 7 versus 7 just in pure tanks.
Yeah.
While Art is definitely a valid option and alternative against other teams. But when you should be the stronger team, I'm not sure if CGC necessarily was the right call there. Oh,
well, I mean, that's mine's been and done. I don't think there was too much that was particularly surprising there. I mean, Lupin could have looked a little bit better on their attack, but then again, so could have 7 Pirates. I think Lupin definitely won that round for themselves on the defense, though, which is something that we wouldn't ordinarily say about a team like Lupin. A lot of the time when I was talking about them last week against Caren Tiger, I was saying I felt like it was Caren Tiger that was losing the rounds as opposed to Lupin winning the rounds. This one was Lupin winning the round.
This is what I was saying, Lambert, I think probably overextended a little bit. I think they've let a little bit more HP than they needed to. They did need to push forward there. But again, like you said, they did well. They got the backshots in behind, pretty well timed. So yeah, no, they won the round.
4.3k damage out from Fury as well in that mouse. I just had a look at his damage bar down there. So that's pretty nice for him, but not enough, obviously, at the end of the day. So Lupin did well there. A lot of low tanks, but it doesn't matter how low you get. As long as you pick up the round, you still win the round. So 1 apiece after Mines. Doesn't really give me much of an indication as to where the rest of this series is going. But Himmelsdorf, for me, this is kind of the linchpin really for Lupin. We see a 2-0 come out for them. They're up 3-1. There's a chance they might even be able to close that out. You know, get a streaky win on Prokhorovka, head on to Muro. Maybe 7 Pirates is not too comfortable on Muro. We haven't seen them playing it too much this season. So I still think there's a chance here for Lupin, but it has to come down to Himmelsdorf. They need to get that 2-0 there.
I agree. Did they play Prokhorovka last week at all? Did Lupin do?
I don't think so.
Okay. No, but I agree. I haven't seen them on Proc, but I remember from last season that Proc wasn't necessarily the best map. I would expect 7 Pirates to be pretty good on Proc, so I agree. Lupin needs to probably pick up a 2-0 here. If they do that, they're in pretty good stead. If it's 1-1, I guess they shouldn't be disappointed. If they lose 2-0, well,
then that's game over for me.
It's game over.
Particularly that momentum then heading into Prokhorovka, where we have seen 7 Pirates. You know, we've seen them a couple of times on Prokhorovka. They've got a 100% win rate on it. Again, very, very small sample size, but it's a little better than what we've seen from Lupin, where they played it once and lost it. So,
indeed. No, I think honestly, just from where I am at the moment, I would expect 7 Pirates to probably be the good on the maps that EL are good at, because that's their training partner.
Yeah, okay. So Himmelsdorf definitely is the next map coming out in the pool. What we probably expect coming out from Lupin on this map, you know, we probably expect that E3. Tekka is playing today, so I'd expect to see that probably on both sides even. They did pick that against Caren Tiger on both sides. It was very effective on both sides. 50 Bs as well. I think they only tend to run 1, though, which I'm fairly certain is Revolution in the 50B. Though I wouldn't mind seeing Spitz in the 50B as well. He did play it a little bit last season. I think he did a decent enough job.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, though, we do see Spitz in a bat chat, so I think that's probably his more comfortable pick as opposed to 50B or bat chat. He kind of goes for the bat chat.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you know, fill it up with Mausers, fill it up with Type 5s, 5As. I feel like the E3 and the 50B are kind of the Lupin sort of side picks.
Yeah, I think right now, and I'm not sure how much these teams are studying the EU and RE regions as well. I haven't actually had time this week because I've been away with work to actually watch much of the other regions as well, which I'll do when I get back tomorrow. But I would expect probably pretty just standard tank picks from both teams.
Yeah.
I don't think they will go to left field in any kind of way, and I don't think they, honestly, I don't think at this stage they should either. So yeah, I agree.
So you don't think we might be seeing any of the new tanks coming out? I mean, we've got the Foch B. We have seen that every now and then, a little bit on Himmelsdorf, even holding down an angle.
Yeah.
It's viable enough nowadays, I think. But whether these teams are going to be feeling comfortable picking it up,
I don't think, unless you've trained with a Foch B on Himmels, I don't think it's a viable pickup.
Right.
I think we will start to see the Foch B on Himmels, but I'm not sure if these are the teams that will bring it out first in APAC. But it is a valid option. At the end of the day, it's got a massive burst. It's got a great gun. And if you need to sacrifice it, that's the tank you send him first as well, because it doesn't have a turret. That's obviously the big weakness, and it doesn't have much armor either. Yeah. So you want to get 1 or 2 clips out, and then you just send him in first. And
I mean, well, if you get 2 clips out, that's like 4k damage, so you're probably
laughing.
pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't suspect we'll be seeing it right now, but maybe EL Caren Tiger. I think that could be an option if we see ourselves on Himmelsdorf, maybe. Yeah, though, in saying that, EL has always tended to be a little bit slow to adapt to new metas.
If anyone brings it out, I would expect it to be CT.
Yeah. All right. So, if we're going to see a TD here from Lupin, I'm thinking the E3. I mean, I keep talking about it, but Tekka was really, really impressive in it last week. He sat on like 2, 3, or 4k games on Himmelsdorf. And I think he might have put it out on Ghost Town as well and had a pretty decent time.
If you can get the E3 in the game, it's obviously really, really strong. But you need to be patient. That's probably why you never see me in E3. And you need to know when to move in and when not to move in. Because again, it's a turretless TD, and it can be frustrating to play it.
I do not like playing turretless tanks.
No, I'm not the biggest fan of it either. Because once again, you need patience.
Yeah. Not my strong suit either, to be honest. So Himmelsdorf, what are you calling? Are you calling 2-0 for Lupin, or are you saying 1-1? Or
looking at last map, I'm going to say 1-1.
1-1?
Yeah, I'm going to say 1-1.
I might do... Well, I guess I have to go 1-1 because I predicted 5-2. But I kind of feel like there is that chance that Lupin can get the 2-0 here.
Yeah.
We haven't seen 7 Pirates on Himmelsdorf. I don't even think they played it against Good Trades in the Silver Mavericks promotion match. So far, I have literally no idea what 7 Pirates is going to do on this map, short of they're probably going to pick Mouses.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, if we haven't seen them, we don't really know what to expect. But I expect a couple of Mouses, a couple of 1-1-3s, 1 or 2 50Bs, maybe potentially a Bat Chat. But I would expect a very, very standard lineup from them.
All right, well, looks like we are about to find out here on Himmelsdorf. Map number 2. At the moment, Lupin and 7 Pirates split 1 apiece. And this is kind of, we feel, at least, make or break for Lupin. If they get the 2-0 here, then great. They're in with a chance. But if they go down 0-2, might be time to start thinking about match number 2.
Indeed.
Let's find out, though. Heading on to the map, see what these tank picks are. And there we go. We do have, actually, a Foch B, 4-1 Ren. Also that E3 that I spoke about for Tekka. A bunch of Mouses. 50B for Barsak, actually, interestingly enough. Lambert in the 113, and a bunch of IS-7s as well. So you can definitely tell we're on the new patch.
Indeed. So I'm guessing Foch B is going heal. Yeah, there he is. So Foch B going heal. It looks like they're taking the 8 line pretty quickly. So they obviously want to take map control because they know that the Lupin lineup isn't necessarily the fastest. They should have a pretty good idea where the Mouses will set up along the 2-3 line. So let's see how they set up.
Yeah, and no one actually getting spotted out so far. This is Lupin's strat in a nutshell. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of it, the way that they set up here. It's actually a little bit different to what they did last week. This week they've got Tekka in the railway, where last week he was sitting down that A line, where basically where Lambert is sitting at the moment, in that hold down position. I mean, it just gives up so much map control, though. Like, 7 Pirates have gained 3/4 of the map for free.
It does, and this is pretty much what you could see, pretty much identical to what we saw TZZ doing last season, over and over and over again. And it worked the first 1 or 2 games when it was very new, but then it was very easy to work your way around it, because you give up so much of the map that the other team can bait, they can push, they can set up. All really 7 Pirates needs to do is dig this mouse out, then take control of 5 line, and then Lupin literally just have to drive through gun lines to get resets.
Now, I'm not sure that you'd probably want an IS-7 in this position, to be honest, for Lupin, because for 7 Pirates, to be honest. Like, it's not a great side-scraping tank.
it's not great, but at the same time, if you can avoid exposing your plate too much and you can time the shots, you can trade it pretty well. And the fact that it has had a HP buff now as well means that you can get away with trading against the mouse a little bit better. Was that the Type 5? Yeah, Type 5. So they got the Type 5 there in to dig out the mouse now. Revolution is moving, Basak is moving down there as well, so Basak in the 50B is trying to move around, but he needs to be careful from the Fok up on the hill, which he's...
They've spotted him out, so they know. I think they know where Grunren is.
Yeah, they do, because he's starting to take shots as well. I'm not sure, he probably got lit from Revolution.
This is just, it's a losing battle really for Lupin. Once Pro goes down in this mouse, which he's probably going to go down, well, this shot if it's a good roll, which it's not, but next shot for sure.
Yeah.
That basically gives up the 2 flag, really, to 7 Pirates. And we need to see then Lupin making a rotation, which they are making, to be fair, Revolution and Lambert, but they're not getting anything for the damage.
But the thing is, even where Lambert is moving now, he's not going to have any shots. He can cross over there. He's probably going to take one from Fury. Fury's aware what's going on. And then there's two tanks looking down the 8 line on him, so he can't poke there.
Pro's just doing a nice job of side scraping here. Very, very tough to penetrate a tank like that, but Nice does manage to thread the needle and gets the lower plate. So the mouse is down now. 7 Pirates putting a bit of pressure on that cap. Not too much. Still a minute 20 left to play with here for Lupin on the defense, but they've lost essentially a tank for free. Like look at how much damage 7 Pirates has taken. Not a lot.
No.
And Lupin's taken a tank down, and Lambert's on half HP. So this is not looking good, I don't think.
No, I think the issue for Lupin is that it works well last week, but then they're trying to pull off exactly the same thing a week 2, and you would expect 7 Pirates to at least have looked at the replays from previous week to see how they're playing it. Basak should take out the Fok, is that correct? No.
2 shots, what's them for? 600. So, yeah, of course, if he penetrates both of them. Nice. Down to a 1 shot here as well. Bit of a brawl going on in
now they're digging Lambert out because Lambert went in on his own, like I said, down on the E line, which is pretty much suicide. He should never have done that, and he should have known better as well, and this should be pretty much GG. Now the 2 mouses should go. Spitz is up on the 6-7 line, so he can't support the 2 mouses. He's going on his own, and basically 7 Pirates have the overmatch everywhere on the map.
Yeah, that's what they want. Nice thing about the IS-7s as well is that it's going to be able to chase down the mouse. I think there's a mouse on fire here as well. Spitz just bleeding
Fury
HP.
Might have overextended here. He's perma-tracked, so he's going to go down and throw his tank away for free. That's pretty silly, I have to say.
Yeah, a little bit. Nice though, does get the kill on the Spitz. I don't think that that's going to affect 7 Pirates all that much, to be honest. They should still have enough, unless Barsak can just do something absolutely massive in this 50B, like clip out.
Well, Barsak should get Guanren now. He knows where he is. Guanren does not know where Barsak is. Barsak should in the next 10 seconds get him down, and then he will be able to clip the IS-7.
Yeah, he'll have 2 shots left for the IS-7s.
No.
Oh, no, Guanren does know where Barsak is, so what's Barsak? 516?
Barsak needs to take the hit
yeah.
and get rid of him.
That's actually a really high roll out of the Foshby as well. I think it's 400 alpha, so 450 roll was pretty nice for him, but obviously not enough to pick up the kill. So Barsak still does have those 2 shots, needs to get one of them, or probably both of them, into Lao Wu. If he does that, Lao Wu will die. If he pens, which he doesn't. So Lao Wu survives. Still, wouldn't have made a difference in the end, really.
Yeah, again, if you're running that heavy setup, I don't understand why they would send up the mouse to A6 without any protection as well, because he's so easy to dig out. He can't go anywhere, because he can't sit in reverse side scrape. It felt like they threw the mouse away. Again, it worked last week. It definitely didn't work this week, and 7 Pirates was all over it.
Yep, definitely. Barsak delaying the inevitable here. 66 HP.
Farming some fantasy points.
Farming some distance traveled points.
Yeah, please stop driving.
That's your job.
That's my expertise. Damage is luck.
Doesn't even look like anyone. Well, distance traveled is luck as well, as long as you're not flipping your tank.
Wow, that's below the belt.
Ah.
Only happened once.
Once?
Yeah.
Once on camera.
This is true. We don't talk about the other times. Okay, so let's see. So 30 seconds on the cap. Just put a 3rd one so we can get this game over and done with.
Yeah. That's what I reckon. He's not even going to get there to reset.
Nah.
There we go. All right. Well, wasn't the greatest performance from Lupin there on the defensive side. I will give it that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that strat because you kind of set yourself up for failure, really. You kind of have to hope that your opponent sort of messes up. You know, you're not putting yourself in a position to spot out the push early. You're not in a position to do damage early.
Yeah, so they don't have any vision, which in itself on Himmelsdorf you can get away with it occasionally, depending on what team you're playing. But then, if you're that grouped up, you just need to push. As soon as that mouse starts taking a lot of damage, you saw them trying to do a rotation through the courtyard, but once again, 7 Pirates was set up for it. They just needed to just push as a group. Again, that's a strat for me, is nowadays it just doesn't really work. But the only thing they could have done was just push as a group and just try to outgun 7 Pirates. But in saying that, if they did that, 7 Pirates probably had them in the crossfire anyway.
Well, 7 Pirates had a Foch B, and you're pushing into a Foch B. That's not really.
Yeah, exactly. The Foch B would have just driven off the hill, gone down and taken the B line and just peppered them while they were trying to get the overmatch. Again, I'm not a fan of that setup at all.
All right. Well, we'll see what they can do on the attack. I feel as though Himmelsdorf tends to lean a little bit towards the attack. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Nowadays, yes, again, that's, I think, something that we've seen over the 1 or 2 seasons now. Right. Previously, it was definitely a defensive-sided map. Now we've started... Every team has played it so often that you're starting to kind of learn how to break the meta and break the map. You know how, if the team is setting up this way, this is how we need to attack it. And then the defensive team almost becomes the attacker. But again, this was a massive overextension by Lambert. He should know better. He's played, what's this, season 3 or season...
This would be the 3rd season that he's played that I've casted. I don't know if he played before that.
Yeah, so even 3 seasons, you should know that you can't just push forward there on your own, because they can just cross the 8 line for free and come down and take him out, which is exactly what they did. Basak as well, I'm not sure where he bled his HP earlier on. I'm not sure where he poked. And again, that's something you can't really do in the 50B. He couldn't really get his gun in the game, which, look, it's hard again, because he can't just go full YOLO on his own, because if he runs into the Foch, he's in trouble. But yeah, they just, again, I'm going to just base that purely on poor defensive setup.
How do you feel about the 50B? Because a lot of teams just running the single 50B. I know you guys have been running the double 50B.
Again, for us now with the mouse, previously before the mouse came in, we ran double 50B all the time.
Every time, yeah.
Absolutely, 100% of the time. Because again, we like to play with burst, we like to play with speed. Now it's, I think, if 2 50Bs or 1 50B, I think it's just down to the caller. I don't. Yeah, exactly. It just depends on how you're playing, how you want to play the map. If you have 2 50Bs, that's great. But again, you need to be able to get them in the rotation. You need to be able to get those guns in the game, and you need to get the rotation going. If you have 1 50B, you can get away with not rotating as much. But again, then it's harder for the 50B to get into position to dump his clip. Yeah. It's a lot harder if you're only one, because you can't just clip a tank.
You can't clip out a tank, yeah, exactly.
And that's the challenge with the 50B solo.
Yeah. All right, so Lupin going to be moving on to the attack here. I probably think that they'll be feeling a little bit better about the attack going on to that one than the defense. But again, it's not been an amazing performance so far from them. They're on Himmelsdorf. Yeah.
Looking at how they set up the defense, I'm kind of expecting them to just run 3-4 mouses. Yeah. Good old TZZ Pinky Camo style up the 8 line. And if
it was TCZ style, they'd have E100s.
Yeah, this is true.
And drive into like a wall and get all the E100s get stuck in a row.
Yeah, good memes. But I think...
Which way's left?
Yeah, exactly, which way's left. We've actually had the miscommunication with our Russian fellas a few times as well.
No.
I think I was guilty of it once as well. But I think, well, if we see 3-4 mouses just going up 8 line, against 7 Pirates that's what 7 Pirates should be expecting. They should have crossfire set up for the 7-8 line push. Yep. If they do, I think, again, if they show that they're prepared for the attacking side of Lupin, the 7 Pirates will take this pretty easy. If Lupin has come up with something new, well, that might throw 7 Pirates off as well, because again, we don't know how prepared they are.
I don't feel as though Lupin is the team to come up with too much new, though. Like, we haven't really seen any innovation from them, even last season or the season before. I'm struggling to remember them doing anything that was kind of like characteristic of them, as opposed to someone like Caren Tiger, who on Ruhenberg last season with the Mausers, that was kind of new. You know, no one else was really doing that in APAC. You can kind of think, okay, team efficiency, they like the mobile tanks. There's no real way, I feel like, that you can just characterize Lupin. They don't have like a personality as a team.
No, I probably agree with that. They tend to play very, very stock standard. And again, if you want to try something new, if you want to do something different, it's the same in anything. You need to train. Yeah. You need to train, you need to put effort in. And if you don't do that, well, it's hard to experiment. And on game day, you don't want to experiment too much. You want to know what you're doing in that game the day before, 2 days before, 3 days before, and you want to prep for it. And if, again, Lupin is not training, well, there we go. Then we'll probably just see the same old standard, and it's down to 7 Pirates to to break it, or not necessarily break it, but to counter it, which they should be good enough to be doing.
I mean, if you're expecting the standard play to come out, then I guess it's pretty easy to set up to counter a standard play because you kind of know what's coming.
Absolutely, but again, right? you can use the analogy of well, it's standard, but you can use the analogy of what we said about TZZ last season, and I keep bringing it up, but it turned into almost a meme on Himmelsdorf how they always play the same way.
Yeah.
I think we actually lost to their E100 push once or twice early in the season on game day 1.
Yeah.
But come game day when we played them in the round
Third
robin.
round robin.
Yeah, I think they lost an E100 before they even got across the crossing. They just got peppered, and that's again. That's what I would expect 7 Pirates to do to Lupin if they run the same thing. I would be disappointed if they don't do it. And if they don't do it, well, that's good for Lupin, because then they have 3-4 mouses. They can just absolutely push the B line. Because I think we saw last week, they didn't stay on cap. They just kept pushing forward.
I think that 7 Pirates here obviously will want to close this series out with a fairly reasonable result, right? If they get to like a 5-1, that to me is going to... it makes me feel a little bit more confident about the team as opposed to if they go like 5-3 against Lupin here. It's still a win. They still get the exact same amount of points, but I feel a little bit more confident about where I'm placing them in the standings at the moment if they were able to do that. So I think that this round here is pretty crucial for 7 Pirates to sort of figure out whereabouts they'd want to be sitting, or where I'd be thinking they'd be sitting in my power.
Well, they looked good the last map. They played everything exactly like they should be. Again, we have gone on a very aggressive scouting run. I don't like this. I think someone asked me to do this in training once, and I said, see you later, boys. I'll probably come back with half HP. But he made it. That's really good info for them. Again, here they come, Lupin, down the 8th line. 7 Pirates, obviously studied them. They've taken all the control on the 1-2-3 line. Now they should be setting up with their guns on the 2 line, across to 8 line. I'm not sure
who's actually pushing into it, and Rabbit as well.
So they'll be very hull down, which it's still a very strong position. At the end of the day, they don't want to sit there too much, considering that Lupin has a Type 5 that can just splash them out. But they also have Spring. Again, as soon as Lupin drives out into the G line, Spring will be able to dump a clip into the side of them as well, because they won't be looking that way. They'll be looking.
I wonder if it would almost be better for Rabbit and Lao Wu to be playing a little bit further north, the bit of rubble that's a little bit further north than where they are at the moment. That way, Lupin actually commits to this push into the 8 line. The 50Bs have easy shots, and then the 113s peek out from behind. Yeah,
I think that, look, it might have been better depending on how much damage they would have done from the side from 2-3 line. Because if they don't deal enough damage, then you have 2 1-1-3s against Mouses and Type 5s, and they're going to die very quickly. But here we go. Here comes the move. The 1-1-3s are pulling in and out. You can see Spring in his 50B. Shot fired once, bounced that one.
Twice,
that's his third shot. And so he gets 3 shots out. He should have 1 more. Here comes the push in the 1-1-3s. The 1-1-3s should be able to get away, and the Mouses shouldn't be able to do too much to them because they have crossfires left, right, and center. All Lupin can do is drop up the 8 line, bleed HP, and they're surrounded.
Well, Ticker's getting into a nice position there, actually. Does put a good shot into Rabbit, who's kind of forced to push forward here, really. Doesn't even penetrate that shot into the Type 5 Heavy, so somehow this actually just works out for Lupin.
I don't know why Rabbit did that, because the E3 had fired. He knows he's got 13, 14 seconds. He should have waited a little bit longer rather than driving in front of 3 tanks. But, yeah, it's a bit of a misplay by 7 Pirates.
Lao Wu's going to go down here as well.
Yeah, he's going to go down again. And this is what you were talking about just before. They had the 1-1-3s down there. The Type 5 and the Mouse was able to push forward fairly freely and just take them out straight off the bat.
Yeah, Spit taking a bit of damage here. I wonder, though, if 7 Pirates have done enough damage here to still be competitive in this one. Even though they've lost 2 tanks, they are, only 2k health behind. So
they are, but again, they've lost HP. Lupin has the heavy advantage. There's not really much Lupin can do from here. If I were them, I would have already moved Spit, and I think it was Pro quicker than they did. Tekka should have started moving as well, and just really take dominance of 7-8 line, and then just go for the overmatch. Avoid the autoloaders, put someone on cap, bait them in as soon as they get a sniff, just push in an overmatch. Because obviously 7 Pirates have their 3 autoloaders as well. They can't just do a hard push back in. They need to make sure that they get the crossfires on Lupin.
Speaking of the autoloaders, Fury at the moment is pushing down in the southern part of the map with Guanren. So obviously Fury not in an autoloader, but one of the autoloaders is making moves.
Tekka might get caught out here because he was still at G8 when he was spotted last. which is, again, a little bit too far away from the rest of the team for my liking. Let's see if he's moved.
He's not.
No, he's not. Okay.
He's watching the angle, but a 1-for-1 trade theoretically favors Lupin there.
Yes, but then where's the bat chat? Is the bat chat going to come down from the 8-9 line? I'm guessing that's where the bat chat will pop up soon.
Yeah, and then Tekka dies. He gets tracked.
No, there comes 50. Okay, so it's a hard push to dig out the E3. Spitz needs to hit the shot, and hopefully for Spitz he would pen the 50B, but 50B didn't just completely overexpose himself.
Ooh. Or did he though? 621. I mean, it's not obviously a penetrating shot there onto Spitz, but it's a highly damaging shot. Spitz knows he's got, Spring knows he's got a bit of time there to put more damage into Spitz, and so he does. And Spitz is now a one-shot here. Actually goes down to GRB, so there's 2 tanks off the field for Lupin.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you start favouring 7 Pirates again.
Yeah, again, and that's, I think, where it just comes down to individual player skill as well. The E3 should have known better than staying that far away. Revolution is now getting clipped for free from the backshot from the hill, which they should have expected as well. I think Lupin probably threw this game. They did what they needed to do. They got the tanks out they needed to get out. They then took control of the 7-8-9 line, but then they spread out too much.
Yeah.
So let's see what they do now. Ren has held his shots, so he only has 2.
The 50Bs of Lupin are moving, but what they're doing is moving into a crossfire. Barsak takes a mad chunk of damage. Fury gets tracked, but no damage. Another one bounces off the front of the 5A, and you can't be doing that in a 50B. You need to be penetrating those shots. Lambert walks into a crossfire of his own. It just seems like Lupin don't really know where the 7 Pirates players are playing.
Yeah, again, they kind of had a game plan. They managed to get away with the first part of the game plan. A little bit lucky, because once again I would say that 7 Pirates misplaying it and throwing it.
Yeah.
Then they had the advantage, but then they just didn't know what to do from there. They obviously expected 7 Pirates to probably set up on the 1-2-3 line, and then expected a big fight up on the AB line, and that didn't happen, and Lupin just wasn't really sure what to do.
Yeah, so 5v3 now, really just a matter of time before 7 Pirates cleans this one up. Puts themselves up 3-1. We'll talk about it a little bit during the map break, but I think this is now really basically game over for Lupin. Fury should be the last one. Nope, Guanren actually gets the kill onto Pro there, but regardless, doesn't matter. 7 Pirates 2-0 on Himmelsdorf, the first map of Lupin's choice. It's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign. In saying that, and I don't want to double negative here, but I wasn't very impressed with 7 Pirates there either. So 7 Pirates almost threw it. Lupin just decided to throw a little bit harder. It was almost like the rugby game we went and watched yesterday.
Yeah.
It wasn't a matter of who wanted to win more. It was
who wanted to win or lose less.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, yeah, I'll struggle to see Lupin come back. What's the next map? Proc, is it?
It is Proc, yeah.
Yeah, if 7 Pirates knows how to play Proc, I think they will run over them pretty quickly. And again, I mentioned it before, I expect them to play very, very similar to EL Gaming. I expect them to play very, very quick. I would almost expect them to probably do what EL did to us when we did a couple of misplays.
Yeah.
And I would almost imagine that we might see a mirror image where 7 Pirates takes the mid very, very quickly. Lupin hopefully sets up well, otherwise they'll just get run over.
I have this vision of 7 Pirates. I'm pretty sure it was 7 Pirates that had the double STRV on attack and pushed down the 1-2 line. Batchat's being shielded by the STRVs. I feel like it was 7 Pirates. I don't remember exactly who it was, but
actually it sounds about right.
It feels like it could be something that they could do here. You know, a very kind of aggressive strat. You know, throw caution to the wind, just drive down the 1-2 line, see what happens, and it worked out for them. I'm pretty sure that was against Caren Tiger. But regardless, I agree with you. I think 7 Pirates probably going to go a little bit more aggressive here on Prokhorovka, take control of the map early, maybe even on both sides. Like, they don't even need to play too defensive, spread out a little bit on defense and just take control. And
again, 7 Pirates for me, they should just looking at how they're setting up, not necessarily how they keep going during the rest of the game, but how they're actually setting up is pretty good. And therefore, for me, they should be able to set up strongly, take the map control of Lupin, and then slowly start strangling. That's kind of what I expect to be happening here on Proc, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see.
What about Artie? We haven't seen too much Artie on Prokhorovka so far this season.
No.
We have seen they've had they've had the Artie so far this season, this match even on mines. But I don't think we've been seeing it as much on Prokhorovka as we did last season.
For last season, you have to remember that we were 768 as well. So an Artie isn't that much of a loss if you're setting up defensively. Correct. Because you can take the 1-2 line, and you can ignore the cap on the other side of the tracks, and from there on in, Artie can just sit and get resets as long as you have a spotter, which you have in the batch shots anyway.
Yeah.
Now with 770, I'm sure we will see Artie pop up from time to time, but I don't I'm not a fan of it.
Right.
I'm honestly not a fan of it, because you lose that one tank, and if you're playing against a good team, they will figure out where your weakness is sooner or later. It's just a matter of while you're figuring out, you can't bleed too much HP.
Yeah.
And if you do that, that's where Artie can come into play.
All right. So Prokhorovka here. I mean, we're going to see a little bit of a lighter lineup. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. But do we see IS7s maybe? I
wouldn't be surprised. I would. I think Proc has definitely become a map that you see become a bit heavier. You see up to 4 heavy tanks now. I think we see 4 WZs and 3 Batchets and so on.
Well, when it's WZ, I mean, why not?
Yeah, really? Exactly. Why not? And I think now with the IS7 finally had its buff, I can't probably expect to see 1 or 2 IS7s mixed up with the WZs because of the turret. The WZ turret still isn't that amazing. Yep. You can definitely pen it while with an IS7. Well, yeah, you just don't. Good luck, unless you're bowing against Caren Tigers, who somehow pen 3 out of 3 through a turret.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is probably 1 in a million anyway. So yeah.
So I don't think I've ever penned an IS3 turret. So
yeah,
anyway. Yeah, it could be an option.
Wonder why.
Oh, come on, mate. I'm angry teal. Okay, right? Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you have to bully me? It's on camera now.
Well,
you can't get away with it anonymously in Twitch chat anymore.
You kind of stepped into it, didn't you? I've never penned an IS3.
IS7, okay. Not an IS3. Okay, oh, come on,
sorry,
please.
IS7. I'll give you some lessons off stream. Have to be a patient player.
I'd like to see you pen an IS3. 7. I've done it. I've done it. You debated me so hard.
You did say IS3 before as well. And
no,
I
did.
Yeah, you did. Go back and watch.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
All right, I will go back and watch. But I meant IS7.
Yeah.
Anyway, IS7's possibility, 113's possibility, 5A's possibility, Batchat's probably a locked in at least.
Yeah.
Well, probably WZ's and Batchat's locked in.
If you were to ask me, I would say probably from the attacking side, and this is without watching too much of the streams during the week. 2 I7s, 2 WZs, 3 Batchets, maybe 1 heavy tank removed for STRV, or even a 263 that I see some teams. Or maybe even a FOC. We might see the FOC come into play on the 1-2 line now, because again, you don't want to push into, what is it, 2,400 burst damage? Or
I think it's 2,400. 6 shots, 400 alpha.
Yeah, and you'll definitely get your clip out if they push 1-2 line. So, yeah, there's a few different variations we can see, and yeah.
I guess it really comes down to what you pick, what your opponent picks, and blind pick as well. I mean, how much of a factor does that really play on a map like Prokhorovka?
It doesn't play that much. Right. Again, it's a map that if you've been playing for a few seasons and you actually put in training, there's not really any lineups that really surprises you any longer, and you should have a pretty good gauge on how to play them out.
All right, well, I guess we're going to find out what map or what tanks we are actually going to be getting here on Prokhorovka, at least in our first round. We do seem to be heading into it in just a second. I'm expecting lots of 5As, lots of Batchats, maybe a IS7 or an IS3 every now and then. But, okay, 2 IS7s for Lupin, 1 for the guys on 7 Pirates, 5As, Batchats, STRV, nothing unexpected here.
7 Pirates have gone really heavy, but again, it's not a bad setup at all. And Lupin pretty much did the exact one that I said, except for they moved out a Batchat for an STRV.
Yep.
So let's see here. So 7 Pirates going very well. We've seen this strat before by other teams where they split 6-7 line and then they just go full speed over the Batchat as soon as they isolate one of the tanks.
Tekka, the only one spotted out here, but Nice should be able to get some lights when he does peek up here. Nope, apparently not.
Probably for Tekka, he's not going to get away.
Yeah. Where's the rest of Lupin? That's my question.
And this is the danger, and this is
what are you gonna do?
You will see this happen, and we've been caught out from it as well. It happened to myself as ZL. I went up my first spotting run, couldn't spot them. Went on a second run, all of a sudden the WZs were there, and I couldn't get away. It's really risky to play like that against that heavy setup now during the middle.
Well, Lupin do know that they can take the 1-2 line for free, but how much of an advantage really is that? I mean, once they get the 1-2 line, where do they go from there? They can't get onto the 1 flag without taking shots, that's for sure.
It's going to be very hard for Lupin to dig them out, especially with throwing away 1 Batchat. They don't really have much rotation. They're going to be moving forward now, take control of the 1-2 line, but again, 7 Pirates are not really going to be bleeding any HP.
7 Pirates are going to get full control of the southern part of the map as well, so if we need to see a rotation coming out from 7 Pirates, that's probably where it's going to come from, but having Lao Wu pushed forward, probably going to be playing around the rock near the 1 flag if he needs the resets. Almost looked like Guanren was going to drive into a train there.
Yeah, it's gonna look. It's gonna be really hard for Lupin to actually get any control back here. And this is what I was saying early on. I mentioned that I think 7 Pirates will take mid control very heavily, and then it's a matter of how Lupin is set up early on. They didn't set up well. They lost the batchat straight away. They can't really rotate south any longer because they only have 1 batchat. All they're gonna have to do is put at some stage. We'll probably see someone driving onto cap, trying to trigger the cap. Nice is already there. Lao Wu is already there. Yeah, I think as much as I don't want to dampen it this early into the game, I just can't really see Lupin doing anything. There's not really much room for them. They're going to sit there. They're going to try to hopefully get some damage out without bleeding, and then they're going to have to commit to a push at some stage.
Oh, well, they're going to commit to a push right now with Gongbak, at least in the IS-7.
You shouldn't take any damage yet. He should get in fairly... Oh, he's a bit lucky, actually.
IS-7 best armor in the game. Revolution's lit as well. Ooh, Spring. This could be an opening for 7 Pirates. If they would have got some shots onto Spring, maybe they could have got something done, but...
I'm not sure why they didn't get any shots out on Spring either, because he was...
He was open.
Yeah, he was wide open. Well, at least they have the cap pressure now, as I said. Yeah. They're going to get some cap pressure going. Now the question is what 7 Pirates are going to do, because, again, Lupin has no vision down K-line at all. That's an issue, but once again, they're about shut down. So,
look at this.
Yeah.
Fury, GRB, and Rabbit are all pushing up completely unlit right now.
And all they have to do is GRB and Rabbit can just pull up by the rock, put 1 or 2 into Gongbak,
fall back, rinse and repeat.
Yep, spot on. And you can see Guanren now moving down the K line, so he's going to come in at some stage, and he's going to Basak is going to get spotted. Guanren is going to trade at Basak. Again, they've lost all map control. The fact they've got a tank down early is probably just a lesson for them for next game. And hopefully you don't see them, because exactly the same thing can happen when they're defending.
This. Like, what are you going to do, like, as Lupin here? You just can't do anything. He even gets reset by Lao Wu. No punishment at all, even from Lupin. Lao Wu takes no shots. Gongbak now is just getting really wrecked.
Yep.
And Guanren's got himself in a position down the 1-2 line. He doesn't get lit by these shots because he's sitting behind a bush.
He's not penning any shots either.
He's not penning, but at least he's being a bit of a pest. You know, they have to turn their tanks. They have to look at him. They can't really be as free on the 1-2 line here now that they know there's a batchat there.
Yeah, indeed. I'm pretty sure Guanren was sitting there going, batchat, please.
Yeah.
Why you do this to me? But yeah, again, 7 Pirates. And again, I said it before. Hope if they play it well, they'll take the middle, then they'll slowly start strangling Lupin. Because that's what the better teams does on Prokhorovka.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we see happening here now.
Yeah, Lambert takes another shot. Barely even trading damage, they're just taking damage.
And there's Basak lit. He's gonna be in a world of pain. Fury probably overextended a little bit.
Probably a little bit lucky to survive that,
and this is where you see the difference between really good players and I guess more of an average player. A really good player will probably get the spot and then pull back and let the other team steal damage. Instead, Fury pulls over and takes 2 or 3 hits just to get that 1 shot off. And you see it very often. We're just as guilty of it as anyone else. And hopefully that's something we see less and less of, especially from the APAC region as we go this season.
Yeah, I think this one is all said and done. Nice. Maybe overcommitting a little bit, but again, there's so much HP on the side of his team that it really doesn't matter. If Nice goes down, if Fury goes down, you're still going to back 7 Pirates here to pick up the win regardless. So I guess it's just a matter of time before Lupin does eventually lose all of their players.
Yeah. Well, remember how I said strangled?
Yeah. I mean, look at where Guanren is. He's going to have free shots into everybody.
Yeah. Yes. You can't really be in a much worse position than this, unfortunately. Just waiting for the inevitable. Guanren starting to clip now.
Still having some trouble. He's lit.
Yeah, he's not having a good day with a batchat there.
No. To be fair, it's sometimes a little bit weird trying to pen a IS-7 in a batchat, particularly at this angle, because your accuracy is not good enough to just aim for the weak spots, aim for the over-angled front plate. But you can, obviously, but it just goes wherever it wants to, really. Even there, he just went straight into the upper side armor.
Yeah.
Dinged it. Anyway, round goes the way of 7 Pirates. Lupin have now lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And only picked up 1 overall, so 4-1.
Yeah.
I feel like next round, it's probably going to just be closed out.
Yeah, I agree. I think we will probably see almost a mirror of what we just saw. 7 Pirates, I think, is going to just take it aggressively. And then it's just down to Lupin. Can they set up well in defensive positions? If they do, well, then it'll be interesting to see how good 7 Pirates is to dig a team out. Because that's where they need to avoid trading, and they need to just start gathering info, and then they need to decide where they're pushing. If Lupin does the same thing, losing a back chat early for no reason, and I think this is just, again, I'll repeat myself. For everyone who's playing out there at the moment, you will see this happen. If you send a back chat up early like that, and then expect him to get away through the middle, it's not going to happen if you see 3-4 WZs. So hopefully we don't see that from Lupin.
Yeah,
but it's going to be tough.
A little bit too much gun depression, I think.
Yeah,
well,
but it's not just gun depression, because as a back chat
yeah.
you will still get lit, probably 250, 300 meters back, and then you don't even have to crest too much to actually get your shots down.
Yeah, well, but the extra gun depression just makes it a little bit easier,
yes,
a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 5A is a very good tank. I think we are all in agreement on that one. Maybe not as good as Mouse, but still pretty good. Anyway, Lupin, defensive side of Prokhorovka. What we're going to see from them, no idea. Haven't seen them on it this season so far. That's 2 losses out of 2, though, on Prokhorovka attack for them so far this season. So, not a good statistic to be getting under your belt, but again, we probably would have expected something like that out of Lupin. We did say they were maybe a little bit better on the more city-based maps, even mines. It's a little bit smaller. You can play a little bit heavier on mines. Here on Prokhorovka, like what you were talking about, you need those rotations. You need the map movements to be quick, fast. Otherwise, you're going to get punished. And Lupin got punished.
Yes, unfortunately, I think I'm going to get my first prediction wrong. But again, clearly it wasn't my fault.
And
Lupin decided not to win a map.
Your second prediction is wrong as well.
We don't talk about seconds because they're on paper. They're not official.
It's on stream.
Yeah, but they're not on paper.
All right.
It's not official.
Not official. Well, the first one's still wrong. Well, it could still be right, to be fair.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It will be good little boost for the ego. Just coming in here.
Well, if you get it right, I get it right as well.
Yeah, but
to be fair,
I'll be 100%. What about you?
Until next game.
Yeah.
Until next game.
I'm confident the next game.
Confident, okay. I guess next game really depends on which Caren Tiger shows up today as well.
Yeah.
We've seen some excellent plays from Caren Tiger. Like Sand River last week against 7 Pirates, they just dominated.
Yeah.
And then they kind of went missing for like the other maps. I don't know.
Yeah. Look, I think we'll discuss more and more about CT once we're back for that game. But I'm hoping they'll show up next game. They need to.
Yeah, definitely. Hoping Lupin will kind of show up here on Prokhorovka, to be honest, as well.
So do I.
So we can get that 5-2, so I can get my 3 points on the prediction. God knows I need it at the moment. But if we do get that Lupin map on Prokhorovka, the 4-2, we then head on to Muravanka. Yeah. Even then, I'm still not feeling that confident about them on this one.
Muro, again, I think I would say Muro, you will see back chats and so on, and you will see back chat rotations. And again, I think 7 Pirates is a team that's better than Lupin at rotating with back chats, and that's what it's going to come down to if we actually get to Muro.
Yeah, when push comes to shove, 7 Pirates just, as a team, looking a little bit more coordinated, I think.
Agreed. As I said, even on Himmels, they looked, especially on the attack, you could see how they set up. They waited for Lupin to make moves. Then their rotations were pretty good. Again, even on their defense, they had the right game plan execution, and I think they just went a little bit too aggressive on it. But they have the right ideas. They're setting up pretty nicely.
I wonder if we were on Ghost Town now, for example, where we'd be sitting at, because Prokhorovka was the choice of Lupin. They could have gone for Ghost Town here instead. I wonder if that would have, been changing our opinions here. I probably think it would have.
I think Ghost Town would have been better than having both Proc and Muro in the map rotation.
Like, even if 7 Pirates did win that first round on, let's say in this case, Ghost Town, and they were still down 4-1, I'd be thinking, okay, there's at least a chance that Lupin can come back into this and potentially pick up that second one on Ghost Town. But here on Prokhorovka, I don't feel like that at all. No. Really, I just don't feel like there's a chance.
Nah, not how you looked at the first game. And it's almost like a mirror match from our game versus EL. We just completely set up wrong on the defense against EL. That was our fault. We got hammered. And then on the attack, we again decided to not adapt and tweak. We just did what we done on training, and we set up wrong against the setup. We pretty much did exactly the same thing both sides and got wrecked both sides, and that's, unfortunately, that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen here as well.
How difficult is it to dig yourself out of a hole like that? If you set up incorrectly, your opponent sets up to counter it, how easy is it to say, for example, just rotate out of it and set up somewhere else?
On some maps, you can kind of do it, but on open maps like this, it's very hard. Because once you, especially Proc.
Yeah.
Because Proc, you split in half.
Yeah.
and then you split it again in half. And Lupin, they lost half the map, and then they lost the next half, and then it got split again, and they pretty much just got pushed out.
Yep.
Out onto the line, and proc is pretty much impossible. City map you can get away with a little bit more because you have more narrow streets and so on that you can rotate your way out. But open maps, yeah, it's pretty much impossible, especially if you lose one of your rotation tanks so early on.
Yes, especially if it's a bat chat, such a critical part of most of the lineups. Yeah. But anyway, obviously not what Lupin's going to be wanting to be going for here on Prokhorovka. Hopefully they're going to be able to do that. And if they do that, we will actually need to see 3 round wins on Murovanka in a row from Lupin for them to actually pick up this series, because Murovanka is the last map, and it's also the tiebreaker map.
It's also the tiebreaker
so,
map. Yeah, no.
I just don't see it happening here at all for Lupin.
Yes, no.
How do you feel about Murovanka at the moment? Like, in terms of which side, or does it even dictate to a side? Like, is it 50-50? Do you feel it favors defense, favors attack?
If you look at other servers, I would say it favors defense. On our server, which again, teams just don't train enough to really use the whole map, I would say it's much more of a 50-50 map on our server. And that's fueled because, again, it's just YOLO into the cap, put cap pressure, and then it's about figuring out how is the attacker pushing in to get the resets in, and then the defender just needs to counter push. And that's really what it just comes down to. And then it's just about
who wins the brawl.
Who wins
or
the brawl.
Who catches off a tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Who gets the overmatch and who reads the opponent right. So I would say Mur is definitely more of a 50-50 map on this server, but it still favors the defender, I would say. It should. In theory, it should favor the defender.
Alright, interesting.
But and then again, sorry to interrupt. With 770, I'm not sure how it is, because you don't have that light tank that you can just throw away in a bush now, which you did previously. So, again, I haven't seen enough of it yet.
So 7 Pirates technically chose Murovanka, even though it is the remaining map in the pool, which would then mean Lupin does get the choice of side first on that map. I don't think that's going to play too much of a difference, even if they do get defensive side, even if they do have a defensive bias, and they do win the defensive side, then they still have to play the attack. So I'm not too sure I'm keen on that one. But we were talking about the Artie here on Prokhorovka earlier on. It is going to be pulled out by Tekka, interestingly enough. On defensive side as well.
No, they're attacking, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure Lupin's on defense.
Oh, sorry, yes. No, you're correct. Yeah, so they'll probably just set up 1-2 line.
Yep.
Let's see what they're doing. 7 Pirates are going pretty aggressive, pretty standard. Just sending their heavies through on the other side of the track, sending the bat shots down to scout out 8-9 line. And Lupin is pretty much set up like you do when you play Artie.
So what's the go-to here for 7 Pirates? Because obviously we understand what Lupin wants to do here. They want to have those guys on the cap. They want the Artie to just be peppering away at the cap, get some free damage across.
Yep.
What do you do with 7 Pirates to kind of counteract this strategy? Because it seems like, just get some guys on the cap. It's up to luck whether or not the reset comes across. It doesn't really work like that in effect. So how do you kind of counter that?
CGC obviously has some pretty nice splash compared to the Tier 8 Artists from previous seasons. So what I was just about to say, 7 Pirates are probably going to put a lot of cap pressure on to get a rotation and get the tanks of Lupin moving. They're going to try to get some early damage into Lupin as they come in, which we can see them doing now. And then it's just a matter of if Artie gets a reset, because if Artie misses his next shot to get the reset in, then Lupin is going to have to push in, and they're going to be a tank down.
I think the Artie might have 2 more shots before the reset comes across, but before the timer comes across, but oh no, he won't. So yeah, really, they do have just 1 more shot here,
and I don't think he'll get the reset with his shot. So they've sent Basagan going back down south.
It looks like they're waiting for a spot.
Yeah, they're waiting for a spot. They're waiting to find out this, and as soon as those bat shots are lit, I reckon we're going to see a push.
All right, here comes the shot. Guanran
should be a reset.
Should get reset here, and he does. But still, 37 seconds is not a lot of time. 7 Pirates are taking a bit of damage here, though. Fury down to 1250.
Yeah, I feel they're overextending and bleeding just a little bit too much HP. Where are the bat shots now from Lupin? I'm just wondering. Because they can't go too far away, because if they go too far away...
They're down in the south.
Yeah, so which in theory is fine. But if they overextend and push too much far south, they're going to get 1 or 2 shots off down south, and then the WZs are just going to push over on...
4 seconds required for that reset. Does have to pretty much come from the Artie now. No one's going to be there.
Yeah, and there we go. That's
game over.
Yeah.
There you go. What an anti-climax.
Yeah.
5-1. Looks like we're wrong. Looks like you're wrong.
Predicting is luck.
Yeah.
Nothing new there.
All right, so let me put that down. 5-1, 7 Pirates, Lupin. What more can you really say? Like, I think that's pretty expected result.
Yeah.
Maybe could have gone 5-2, 5-3 had the map rotation been a little bit different, but realistically speaking, it was pretty obvious that Seven Pirates was the better team there.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, spot on. I think Seven Pirates now, they've showed that they can compete. I still, again, until I've actually played them myself and see a little bit more and get a bit more of a gauge on how quickly they rotate and move around the map and how they're set up. I don't want to say too much. I'll probably still put them in 5th, 6th place, somewhere around there. I still keep CT probably above them as well, even though CT did lose to them. We'll see if CT proves me wrong.
Well,
right
I mean,
today.
the current CT that we're seeing, I probably wouldn't put above Seven Pirates, but I do agree with you. I think in general, Caren Tiger should be a better team than Seven Pirates. But yeah, exactly. It depends on how we see them go today.
And then we'll see how I guess how serious Seven Pirates are as well. We have no, again, as I said before, we don't know who the players are. We don't know anything. We don't know how much they train. We don't know who they're training against.
Yeah.
They're a bit of an unknown still at the moment. So you can tell that they're obviously training, but let's see how much they keep improving now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, like, they're probably, in my mind, better than Lupin. I think that's fair to say. Probably better than Last Memories, which is former Wargaming from last season. And then that's where it kind of gets a little bit muddy. I haven't seen enough from Horseman to make a judgment call on that, because we've only seen the one match from Horseman so far this season. I think Horseman of last season is probably better than what we're seeing of Seven Pirates so far this season. But it's very close.
Yeah, exactly. I would put them probably almost on par. And again, who's Seven Pirates played? Have they played? They obviously haven't played us yet.
Caren Tiger. They played Yato.
How did they go against Yato again?
They lost to Yato. It was 5-3.
5-3 was it?
Yeah.
Okay, so they still got 3 rounds against Yato, which is
pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was Yato.
Yeah.
Definitely played Caren Tiger. Obviously played Lupin. Pretty good win against Lupin there. Did they even play Yato, or did they just only play Caren Tiger? Maybe I'm thinking about Caren Tiger Yato. I'm pretty sure that's actually the second game we've seen from Seven Pirates. Yeah. So we haven't seen too much.
So I think, look, so far it looks good for them. I guess we'll see once the first round robin is over, and probably can get a bit better gauge on where they're at then.
Yeah. Well, we've spoken enough, I think, about Seven Pirates and Lupin. We do have one more match coming up today, though, Saf. It is going to be Wargaming and Caren Tiger. Now, that one, I think both of us agree, is probably going to be the pick of the matches tonight. Whether or not we see a good one coming out from Caren Tiger, whether we see a bad one coming out from Caren Tiger, it's definitely going to be a match to watch. So we will find out how Wargaming and Caren Tiger do go after the break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. One taking the shot here. Nice has been spotted out, obviously, and they look like they're actually going to be able to get him out of there. Yes. Haven't been.
Both of them are 1 for they got TP.
That's the game over. Barsack taking one for the team.
Yeah. Is he on the fantasy team?
No, he's not. Actually, the only Lupin player on my fantasy team is Tekka. Gross, just doing a nice job of side scraping here. Very, very tough to penetrate at tanks like that, but Nice does manage to
take the hit and get rid of it.
That's actually a really high rollout of the Poppy as well. I think it's 400 alpha, so obviously not enough to pick up the kill. So Barsack still does have those 2 shots. Needs to get one of them, or probably both of them, into Lao Wu. If he does that, Lao Wu will die.
It's a bit of a misplay by Seven Pirates.
Lao Wu is going to go down here as well.
Yeah, he's going to go down again.
Yeah, so 5v3 now, really just a matter of time before Seven Pirates cleans this one up. Puts themselves up 3-1. We'll talk about it a little bit during the map break, but I think this is now really basically game over for Lupin. Fury should be the last one. Nope, Guanren actually gets the kill on. Apparently not.
Probably for Teke, he's not going to get away.
Yeah. Where's the rest of Lupin? That's my question.
And this is the danger, and this is...
What are you going to do?
Hi everyone, I'm Mikhail. I'm a game designer for the World of Tanks project. Today we're going to tell you about the new features for artillery that you'll see on the Sandbox test server. I guess it's no secret that players often have problems with the artillery class vehicles in our game, because they can arouse a lot of negative feelings.
Actually, artillery has always been the most controversial vehicle class. From the very beginning, since artillery was introduced to the game, it acquired both avid fans and avid haters.
With the current settings, when artillery inflicts high damage per shot on a single target, it ruins the battle for the player being shot.
There are a lot of reasons for it. But anyways, it's high time to change this situation.
We put a lot of thought into solving this problem. So we suggested an idea to replace some of the damage caused by artillery with something different, something that would help your team, but at the same time wouldn't arouse so many negative feelings in the player damaged by artillery and leave a chance for them to continue the battle. A stun mechanic was selected for this purpose.
To describe it briefly, we can say that this mechanic is limited to a fairly significant degradation of characteristics in a vehicle affected by an artillery shell. In this sandbox version, we plan to work on this situation. We will experiment to make the artillery able to both fulfill its game function, which is to provide support to teammates, not to let opponent vehicles take advantageous positions and hold them throughout the battle, and pursue large groups of vehicles, and act as a kind of battle bandmaster.
Shell penetration has been changed. Now there will be almost no armor penetrations with full damage inflicted, because the damage is greatly reduced. The value of damage inflicted by a standard shell was also changed. This was done to avoid situations where a Tier 10 vehicle is destroyed after a thin part of its armor is fully penetrated. So the extent of damage was practically halved for all artillery. We aim to avoid such casual stray insta-frags.
What's more, our plan isn't just to take away some of the damage from artillery and provide it with a stunning option instead. It's no longer advantageous for an artillery player to hunt for one vehicle. There's no sense in chasing a single target, even if it's unarmored, but it does make sense to pursue large groups of vehicles. It has vast splash damage, it has this stunning effect.
Due to this, it is advisable for artillery to properly select a position and fire at groups of opponents. Now they should cooperate with allies within the team to influence the outcome of the battle. Because while playing solo, they won't be able to hunt down raiding chasers or influence the course of battle. Now they need allies to fire at the targets they've stunned.
Of course, we understand that artillery inflicting less damage should get compensation in some aspect. You will earn both experience and credits for damage caused to enemy vehicles you stunned. Consequently, if you actually manage to stun an enemy vehicle in the right place at the right time, and your allies inflict damage to it afterwards, you will get a pretty decent profit from it.
The duration of the stun effect caused by artillery highly depends on the percentage of damage inflicted by a shell. Naturally, vehicles with better armor will get significantly less damage from high explosive shells, and vehicles with thinner armor will suffer more damage and be stunned for a longer time.
If an enemy vehicle is hit by a shell, enters its attack range, or receives splash damage, the following goes into action. The vehicle is guaranteed to be stunned for 30% of the stun duration, and the other 70% depends on the damage inflicted by the shell to this vehicle. The higher the damage, the longer the stun time.
Artillery won't have armor-piercing shells anymore. It will only have standard and premium HE shells. This is to avoid random AP shell penetrations that can destroy an enemy vehicle with one shot. It also means all the damage is high explosive and causes the stun effect.
There are several ways for players to avoid the negative effects of stunning. If you are a heavily armored vehicle that has nothing to lose and you aren't too concerned about your maneuverability, you can mount a spall liner. It's good for absorbing high explosive damage, which has been lessened, and consequently, the spall liner has become more effective. Besides this, it reduces the duration of the stun effect through reducing damage. Also, players can use first aid kits for healing. First aid kits are now reusable. First aid kits and repair kits have a cooldown time now. You'll be able to use them several times per battle. In addition to that, the usual first aid kit that healed crew members can now undo the effects of stunning. During the first iteration of sandbox testing, the interface was in a pretty raw state. Firstly, we had little time for its development. Secondly, we didn't have a full understanding of where to go. We are really grateful to the players who tested the first sandbox version. They told us what they'd like to see, what information they lacked. They even gave us some advice on how to implement their requests. As a result, we launched the second iteration of Sandbox with significant interface improvements.
We added an option for artillery to indicate the area on the map at which it is aiming or is going to fire. This way, artillery will be able to inform allies that it is going to aim at this specific position and monitor it, and may need help in spotting enemy vehicles there. Or it can warn teammates that it is going to fire at that area, and perhaps they shouldn't approach the opponent so closely to avoid being stunned by their ally.
Who stunned whom and for how long is shown, to make it clear to allies if they should attack or not after they reload.
G'day guys, welcome back to week number 3 of the WGL APAC extended season. We've had one match so far today. We've got one more coming up, EL Gaming and Caren Tiger Safi. This one is going to be maybe a good one, maybe a blowout. Really kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I think this one will be pretty tough. I know I've gone one way, which we'll get to when we do the predictions. It'll be tough. There's a lot of rivalry between these two teams. We know they don't like each other.
Safi?
Really? Really?
It was too open. I
just because of it?
Because of the pink shirt.
I'm comfortable, man.
Look, I've gone the same way as you, Safi, so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
More or less, anyway. But yeah, like it really does depend on which Caren Tiger shows up today. Yeah. Now, we do know that there is a bit of a rivalry, so to speak, between EL Gaming and Caren Tiger. So maybe Caren Tiger's been playing a little bit loose, playing a little bit chill so far this season. They haven't really gone up against a team where they... Oh, well, I guess maybe with the exception of Yato. I think they probably really would have wanted to beat Yato.
Yeah.
But EL Gaming is kind of another ball game here for Caren Tiger. So if there's any team that Caren Tiger, maybe with the exception of you guys, if there's any team that Caren Tiger is going to really prep for, it's going to be EL Gaming.
Yeah, you would think so. I think we know their feelings towards EL Gaming. We know the feeling they have towards the other teams that have come into the league as well. You would hope they've prepped a lot, and you would hope that what we've seen so far from them is going to change today. Because we discussed it earlier. It's been really disappointing. And I don't really know what's going on at the CT camp at the moment. I know they've done a few, I think, changes to who plays what tanks and so on. I know there's a few that stands out that I've noticed, and I don't really want to point out names or anything, that I don't necessarily agree with, and I see certain players playing certain tanks.
Yep.
Hopefully they fix that and they really show up firing today, because otherwise I think it's probably going to be a blowout. But they have a lot of potential. I really like CT. They're probably pretty similar to us as well. They can either be really, really on fire, or they can just go, what are we doing here? And just fall asleep during the game, and hopefully we can see them really fire up.
Yeah, a lot of those strong performers that we saw sort of last season here for Caren Tiger haven't necessarily translated through to this season in terms of the performances. So, I mean, like we saw, obviously Akio V's kind of kept his performance through. I think he's actually performing better this season from what I've seen. I mean, again, we've only seen a couple of weeks of play, but I think Akio V probably looking like on paper maybe the strongest performer for Caren Tiger at the moment.
Yeah.
But players like Hellcry and players like Yupa, who last season were super impactful, up towards the top of the damage charts for the entire region. Yupa was sitting in like 4th or 5th pretty much the entire season.
Yeah.
And this season he's struggling to get 1500 damage out.
Well, this is again brings back to what I said. I don't really want to mention names, but Hellcry for me is a great player.
Exactly.
I think he's really, really good. But then I see him in certain tanks like TDs and so on, and I see other players playing other tanks, and maybe it's just because of what they're comfortable with. But for me, you put
your impact players in your impact tanks.
Indeed. That's why I play Backchat. Right, T?
Maybe if you want to have an impact driving around the map.
I'm going to cop this one.
Distance travelled impact, #1 from Season 2.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
No, but on a serious note, I think that they just need to, what's the word in English, ironing out those wrinkles. I don't know whether Englander is hard, but
yeah, I get what you mean. You know, they need to fix up the little mistakes, I think, or just clean up things. Not even mistakes, but just mentality, ideas, strategies.
Yeah.
There's just something that's not quite clicking.
There's a bit of disconnect somewhere there at the moment, and who knows, if they fix it, we'll probably see them back to the best. And I said this the other week, even though they lost to Dark Wolves, we were sitting on TeamSpeak with TE, obviously, and we were watching the match, and it's like we said, well, if we're playing them next week, if Cable gets fixed by some miracle, I can guarantee you they'll push us to the limit. They're not going to destroy us, mate.
I don't know. I mean, look, last season they beat you twice.
Well, last game, we brought 6 mouses on Prokhorovka for the meme. We were already through, mate. Don't even go there. But no, they do always show up really strong against us.
No slack for team efficiency. All right, anyway, we can talk for days about team efficiency's memes. We can talk for days about Caren Tiger, but we are close, at least, to getting underway with the game. So let's have a look at the map, see what we're going to be getting onto here today. Ghost Town taken away by EL Gaming. Don't mind that one, to be honest. Caren Tiger, well, at least last season were pretty good on Ghost Town.
Caren Tiger likes Ghost Town. They're good on it, so I would say that's a good pick for.
This season they've got a 20% win rate on Ghost Town, but I do understand your point. I do think they're good on it.
Again, though, it's not just because they've had a bit of a bad run on it. It doesn't mean that they're not good on it. Cliff from CT, well,
get rid of it. EL Gaming's generally speaking pretty good on Cliff, so I'm happy with both of those videos from both of those teams. I think they make sense. Mine's the choice from EL Gaming. Probably the best team in APAC on that map, at least last season. Again, this season, we'll have to wait and see. Caren Tiger, last season, and even this season, also have been decent enough on mines, so that could be a competitive one. We'll see what Caren Tiger can pull out for us there, though. But if they don't show up, EL Gaming's just going to run away with it. Prokhorovka, that's an interesting pick for me, because I think EL Gaming's very good on Prokhorovka.
I don't know what to say on that one, because I agree. I think EL is good on Proc. I think what we saw last week when they hammered, was last week or the week before when they hammered us, that was down to us. I'm not to take anything away from EL, we just set up really poorly.
I think that's fair enough. Like, you can see, if you watch that game, the setup was bad, EL Gaming just took advantage of it. So
they could take advantage of it, but in saying that, CT are good on it.
But not every team is going to take advantage of a mistake like that on Prokhorovka. I think it's EL Gaming that does it the best.
Yes, I agree, but I think CT plays pretty similar to EL from just training against them and playing against them. I think they're playing pretty similar. I don't think CT will be scared of them on Proc.
Alright, Himmelsdorf taken away by Caren Tiger. I feel like Caren Tiger has been a little weak on Himmelsdorf this season, though last season they were quite good on it. But again, EL Gaming is very good on Himmelsdorf, so it makes kind of sense to me.
Yeah, it does. And you saw them struggling a bit against Lupin last week on Himmel, so maybe they're not too strong in confidence. And we trained a little bit up against them this week as well. And yeah, you can see they're trying out some new things. I think they're just working on Himmelsdorf at the moment.
Okay, so Muravanka then taken away by EL Gaming. To be honest, I'm a little bit surprised by that. I would have thought EL Gaming might have been quite comfortable actually on Muravanka, and Caren Tiger not so comfortable on Muro. But anyway,
I agree.
We'll open up the final two, and Sand River picked up by Caren Tiger, which leaves Runeberg as the final map in the pool. Any thoughts on those?
I'm trying to work out why they did it. I know again, CT is pretty good on Muro, so that could have been. But at the same time, that leaves EL Gaming, Rubenberg. If it goes that far, CT will start on defense on Rubenberg. I'm not sure why they didn't remove Rubenberg to avoid that situation, if it comes down to that. Maybe they're just confident that they won't go that far. Sand River, I think both teams are still getting familiar with it, so I don't think it's a bad pick for any of the teams.
I mean, I feel like EL Gaming might come through with a perceived weakness on Rubenberg, like Caren Tiger's perceived weakness on Rubenberg, because we have seen Caren Tiger vetoing away Rubenberg. To me, that means that they're maybe not so comfortable on Rubenberg this season, or at least they don't want to play it. So if EL Gaming thinks, okay, well, if we can force them onto Rubenberg, EL Gaming is a pretty decent Rubenberg team as well.
They are, but it's defense on Rubenberg. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't lose the defense on Rubenberg, in my opinion.
It's very hard to kind of theorize what a team's thought process is coming into these vetoes. Like, we can look at the maps, we can say, okay, X team's good on this, but eventually the teams, you know, they have their own ideas, they figure out what they want to do, and they decide what they want to do. Looking at that map pick as a whole, mine's, I think, definitely favorable for EL Gaming. Caren Tiger can potentially get 1. Not sure that they can get 2. Prokhorovka, same sort of deal. I feel as though Caren Tiger can get 1, probably not 2. EL Gaming has the chance to get 2. Sand River, a bit of a toss-up. We haven't seen enough from it from either of those two teams. We did see EL Gaming, they played it okay against you guys, but then they kind of looked pretty bad on one half of it as well. So a toss-up, probably 1 apiece, I think is probably the safest bet for that one. And then Rubenberg, I don't know, 1 apiece map, but I still feel like Caren Tiger's lack of interest in playing Rubenberg, I feel like there might be something there. So
probably. I think mine's, might go 1-1. I think Proc will go probably. Look, again, it depends which CT shows up, but I think Proc might be 2-0 EL. And what was the next one? Sand River. Again, Sand River, if you looked at from playing EL on Sand River, they looked pretty. They looked like they knew what they were doing on their attack. We were very static though, and we did trade some badly HP, and that's what cost us in the end. Defense, on the other hand, well,
they had no idea.
Hockey just threw his tank away for free against us, and we just took it and went with it. So Sand River will be interesting. Rubenberg, well, that should be a 1-1 for me. So
all right, well, we'll find out whether we're either of us even predicting we're going to go to Rubenberg. I think we're probably going to Rubenberg, but I do think EL Gaming will be able to shut it out there. I'm saying 5-2. I think that's a pretty reasonable sort of prediction. The way we were talking about it earlier is like either what you're going to predict here is Caren Tiger's going to show up or Caren Tiger's not going to show up. So I'm predicting Caren Tiger's not going to show up. I'm saying they've got enough for 2 here, but we're not going to see a close series coming out of these guys. So, you know, we'll see whether or not that's going to happen.
And, well, I've gone with 5-1. And
2 EL.
5-1 to EL. I probably should clarify that. And the reason why I've gone with 5-1 to EL is based on how CT has been playing. I think EL, and EL didn't look, honestly, we made EL look better than they were against us. I'm going to say that. We lost against Proc. From playing in the game, you could see that they weren't a well-oiled machine that they were last season or the season before. There were some kinks in the armor,
this season,
which is a big loss for them. But I still think unless CT really shows up today, I don't think they will stand a chance. If they really show up, that shows some pretty good mental strength in them, and maybe that can turn their season around as well. So, but I'm still going to go with 5-1, and if CT surprises me, I'll be happy, because at the end of the day, they're one of our best friends in the team as well. So I would like them to see them do well. Production
going the same way as you, and very much the same way as me. We're all kind of in agreement that if Caren Tiger doesn't show up today, they're probably going to be wiped out of this one very, very convincingly. But again, like you said, there is a good chance, maybe not a good chance, there is a chance that Caren Tiger comes into this one, they prepare hard, they research hard, they've got that rivalry with EL Gaming, they really want to prove something, you know, they finally want to get something on the map. And they come up and maybe they get a win. I feel like it's unlikely to get a win. Maybe we see Caren tiebreaker coming out here. I would still back EL Gaming if we do get to that tiebreaker map.
How many tiebreakers have they had this season?
Every single match has gone to a tiebreaker. They've lost all of them. So they're 3-0 or 0-3 on tiebreakers.
Please.
Yeah, it's Caren tiebreaker.
Come on, boys.
So we'll see what they can do here against EL. I am not expecting too much, but I have been known to be wrong in the past. Not often. Every now and then. Why are you looking at me like that?
Do I even need to say anything? Okay.
So rude, sir. All right, Mines. Let's find out how things are going to start off here on this map. It is EL Gaming's map pick. I almost think that Mines is their best map. It's hard to say, though, because their entire map pool is very, very strong. But have a look at this. That's a very interesting setup from EL Gaming. Hokyao in the artillery, double E4 as well. I feel like that's a fair bit of kind of inconsistent damage in a way.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how they play here. CT is probably just going to take the heal pretty well. There you go. Poly's already up.
Black's taking a bit of damage. Where is he? Oh, he's crossed to the beach. He's taking 2 shots on the cross.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good start for Caren Tiger.
Yeah, that's a very good start. So Hellcry just went to the normal spotting bush. Black took the damage that you do. And the CT heavy tanks actually hit the shots, which was different from the game we saw previously as well. Where
exactly.
I think they went across pretty much for free. But I'm curious to how EL is playing this. So Black out there, they have M1 in an IS-4 sitting there. So yeah, it's a pretty standard setup. They have 2 TDs on J8 though, so I'm not sure if they're trying to bait in a push. That's a bit of a... I haven't seen that setup too often here in APAC.
No. Normally you'd see one there, and then you'd probably see the other one sort of in like K4, K5 type area.
Yeah, K4, K5, or even E4. To spot the crossover and to get a shot in on the crossover. You can still shoot the crossover from where they are positioned there. You still have a pretty decent shot, but it's not a lot of room to maneuver.
Well, EL Gaming not seeing much at the moment. You can see obviously watching the POV of them, and they haven't got any spots. Caren Tiger also have no spots. Is Poly going for the climb here? No, he's not. He's just rotating around.
Yeah. So let's see. So CT is going to try to get the tanks across and see if they can dig out whatever's under the hill, which is S4. Who's now going to actually spot the boost as well. I'm guessing that's what they're trying to protect.
No shots really out yet from Hokia, but I guess it's kind of hard when you haven't got any spots to shoot at.
Yeah. Yeah,
actually, this is a really weird... What is Hardliner doing there? He's like literally sitting next to Hokia, right at the back of the map.
Look, I think what they're hoping for is to bait in a push on the 8-9 line because of Artie. Because at the end of it, you expect a push to happen fairly quickly, especially if you give up this much map control.
Aki just hit that blind shot, but it ricocheted all the way up into the moon.
Okay, there we go. So they're going to try to deal some damage out on S4. S4 probably should pull back.
He will.
But at the same time, he needs to spot the boost. They could, in theory, double boost. He should be able to block that off anyway. So as long as S4 doesn't bleed too much damage, CT is still going to have to do a hard push in, and they're going to take damage from the E4s.
Yes, but if they do push hard on the 8-9 line, they also have got these players over on the 1-2 line. Yeah. That's Poly, Hellcry, Mordame. Mordame playing a bit of a different role this week.
Yeah.
Last week we saw him predominantly in the bat chats. Now, I don't know if that was because Hellcry wasn't playing most of those games, which he wasn't. A lot of the time we saw Hallion instead of Hellcry last week. And perhaps they just decided to put Mordame in Hellcry's role and Hellcry and Hallion in Mordame's role. And now they switched back, which actually, to be fair, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I think this is a much more well-rounded lineup than the one we saw with Hallion.
The challenge here as well is, I know that Poly said that he wasn't going to play this season.
Right.
He
was supposed to be the manager or something.
He was supposed to be the manager. He was supposed to move out of the playing role. But the whole leading up to the season, he was training. He's playing every game now as well, so I'm not sure exactly what's happened there.
Yeah.
But I agree. This is a much better... I'm more comfortable with the players on CT currently. So here comes the push down. They managed to avoid any damage from the E4s, have they? Yeah, so that's really good. I think EL might be in a bit of trouble here.
Definitely could be. S4 certainly is. He's taken a bunch of free damage. Not really getting much back.
Because I think only the E4s will get damage in the WZs. Where Hardliner is there as well, so he could potentially go out and clip. So it's a matter of they need to start making a move soon before the mouse starts going down.
A matter of timing here for EL Gaming and for Caren Tiger.
Here comes the push on the 1 line as well.
Mordame and Poly, but they are going to be kind of stalled there a little bit by Black, though admittedly Black is only 800 HP, so he's 2 or 3 shots really here for CT.
And here comes what I was saying before as well. The E4s did get into the game. They got a nice little ambush onto the WZ, and Hardline is going to go in and clip Morrow. So they've managed to bait CT into, I guess, the trap where they wanted.
Yeah, nice sort of a setup there for EL Gaming, but is Caren Tiger going to be able to pull anything back here? I'm feeling like probably not. Morrow does go down to Rattlesnake. Interesting that Rattlesnake's in an E4 there as well. Maybe talk about that in a little bit as well. But yeah, some changes up in that roster there for EL. Caren Tiger though, 5 players alive, 6 for EL Gaming. A lot of HP advantage there for EL as well. So I feel like Caren Tiger, you know, they've had a good crack at this attacking side, but it just feels like it's going to peter out in another couple of minutes.
No, it was all well and good what they set up. EL just managed, as I said, to bait into the 8 line. That's why they had the 2 TDs there. Looking back at it, makes sense. Well played by EL. Don't think CT can do anything from here. I still feel they should have dug out S4 a bit quicker. He bounced. I wonder how much damage he's bounced from the WZ in the middle.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get a shot of S4 here if we can, just to see if his obs mod is showing us what's what. But Modame, not much that he can do here.
Well, he could have penned the shot.
Well, he could have, but like realistically, even if he pens that, what happens? Probably not a lot. He's going to try and get a shot onto S4. Hardliner will take down Nadeko.
Oh, come on, Hardliner. Are you going to start dealing so much damage Is this the week you're going to start dealing damage when I moved you out of my fantasy team?
I never had him in. Actually, to be fair, I did have him in. He was my very first choice, and then I realized he was too expensive. And so I got rid of him.
Wow.
Could have picked you up, Saf, but I didn't. Sus, not sus.
Feels bad. Who else wasn't sub me because I was cheaper than someone else? It really hurt my feelings. I can't remember who was here at T-Cell.
Mad? I think it was Mad. And Gogo.
Ah, that's right. That's okay. I'm happy with it. I picked myself first. I'm confident in my abilities. Not like JT.
Yeah. I was like, JT's like, oh, why aren't I worth all this money? And I was like, well, you're not even in your own team.
Yeah,
if you're like $1,000 and you're not picking
JT.
Yourself, like,
yeah.
Why are you trying to justify to me that you should be worth more?
So good, yeah.
Like, come on,
it's
man.
Brilliant.
I don't even know. Anyway, fantasy teams, mine's going to win, even though it hasn't updated yet, obviously. But EL Gaming picking up the first round there on mines, it looked pretty good for them.
Yeah.
You know, it was... Caren Tiger kind of fell into the trap.
Yep, spot on.
But there was no real problems for EL Gaming. It's not like that was even close.
No, it wasn't. At the end of the day, they set a trap. It worked. Perfect. Tick.
Easy game, easy life.
Yeah, simple as that.
Well, they are... You know, they won on the attack.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, the defense. So they've kind of got the expected result now. This is where Caren Tiger has the chance to flip things back on its head, go one apiece, you know, stay in it. If they do lose here on mines, though, that's a big problem on the defense.
Yeah, let's see what the tank setups are. I think it'll be... Again, I don't know which CT to rock up, but if CT loses, goes down 2-0 on mines, they have proc, which is their map pick, but we know that EL is strong on proc. They like proc, or at least the previous version of EL did like proc, because an open map, they like open maps.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it is the previous version of EL that we talk about, but the previous version of EL is still 5 of the core members that we're seeing coming through here.
Yeah. And obviously Fox is still around in
Fox
some
is
kind
still
of
around.
capacity.
Yeah, I think he's like coaching or something like that. I'm fairly certain he's still actually in the lobby watching the games with these guys, and they live together. So he's probably sitting in their ear saying, "Guys, do this, do this." Maybe he's in-game leading from just a coach position or something like that. Though, from what I understand, Hokiao is actually the in-game leader for EL Gaming.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a little bit weird, you know, to have that new player come into the roster and become the in-game leader.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, he wasn't the in-game leader for Horseman.
Yeah.
He was very late into the season for Horseman. Obviously, Hokiao played for Horseman last season.
But I think EL previously as well, they had different callers and different maps as well.
They had Black
from
and
what I
Nice,
heard.
on the city and the field maps.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Black was city and I think Nice was the field map.
Okay, so maybe that's some kind of tweak there as well, where they've just brought him in. Look, it's hard to tell because it's hard to communicate as well because of language barriers.
Yeah.
So I would love to ask the questions, especially coming from a team who's playing against them.
Yeah.
I would like to find out what they're doing.
No bias.
Yeah, no bias at all.
Yeah,
I'm a caster now.
You are a caster.
I'm a caster now.
At least for this week.
Yeah.
We'll see how much longer that lasts.
Share your secrets, EL.
So EL Gaming going to be moving on to the attack. I think there's a reasonable opportunity. We may even see them picking up the artillery on the attack as well. They did take it on the defense. I don't think the artillery played any kind of a role on the defense, aside from being kind of like a little bit of a bait, really.
Yeah.
Like, it was in there to show, hey, we've got an artillery, not to do damage with.
Yeah. Which, again, it's a bit of a tactical play as well. CT was smart enough not to bleed any HP to it, but they also... Well, they obviously pushed because the other team has an RD, and therefore straight away they have an overmatch when it comes to just head-on collisions. But they didn't expect the WE force, and poof, one of the Ws that's forgone. Yeah.
So attacking side, definitely option of having an artillery. If you take it on the attacking side, that's when you want it to really be doing damage.
Yes.
So we saw Caren Tiger take it on the attack last week. It did a lot of damage. Didn't win because they, I don't know, somehow managed to throw that round against Lupin.
Yeah.
But it's an option here for EL Gaming. We have seen it before. Hokiao can pick up the artillery again. I guess it's really just a coin flip. You know, you can't really predict something like that, whether they're going to take the artillery or not. It is just it's just a different strategy. So,
yeah, exactly. Look, we're just going to have to wait and see. If they bring RD, RD works on mines. We've seen it a lot last season as well. It helps dig out tanks under the hill. It helps softening the opposition team up before you actually commit to the push.
Right.
But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. It's definitely a viable tactic.
Yeah.
Not sure I'm the biggest fan of it myself, but that was, again, prior to the boosts.
Yeah, the boosters are always an interesting thing here. Obviously, we didn't see any at all from either Seven Pirates or Lupin last match. Again, this match, for EL Gaming, they actually were a team that pretty much always had a player on the boost. I mean, a lot of the time you did see players on boost, but I think EL Gaming was the team that had them on the most.
Yeah.
They pretty much every single round, first thing they did, Hardliner climbs up the boost.
But that's how you should be. The few times we played mines as well, we had someone up there straight away as well, and which was usually me, because you have to. Now, unless you have a light tank, you probably won't really see the boost too much, because again, you don't want to commit 2 tanks to actually push it up.
Yeah.
So unless we see a light tank, I don't expect any of the boosts to come up.
All right. That's kind of going to be a bit of a spanner in the works for EL Gaming, because they're going to have to change up their strategies. Obviously, you have to account for not having a player up on that boost.
Don't think that's an issue for EL, because EL was never a fan of the boost. Like we saw in Steps, they permaban Steps all the time. They hated playing Steps against us.
I remember talking to Fox about it.
Yeah.
He's just like, I hate Steps.
Yeah.
I was like, why do you ban Steps? He says, I hate it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
And they just didn't want to train the boost. So, But anyway, here we go.
Well, there is not really likely going to be a boost coming out here from EL, perhaps. No, you wouldn't put a T100 at LT up on the boost.
T100 is probably out to J2, I would expect.
Yeah, on the beach. So, double bat chat, TVP for Hokyao. A few auto loaders for EL Gaming, a few heavy tanks, nothing too crazy to mention.
We saw this last week, didn't we, from CT? They went down low quickly, trying to counter anything that was maybe pre-aiming.
I don't think so.
No, there was when they countered, I think.
They pushed into the cap when it was being capped.
Yeah.
But that seemed like a very preemptive move, you know, like they must have felt like they had a read on something that EL Gaming was going to do, and obviously they haven't really achieved too much. In saying that, though, Hallian has pushed very far forward.
Yeah, he's very aggressive, isn't he? Which is great.
Got a lot of map control of it.
Yeah, so they definitely have a lot of vision. They know what to expect now. They have their heavy tanks stuck in G4, though, so hopefully they can move them up, or maybe they're just sitting there as a trap as well.
They did have a lot of tanks in that position last week as well. Not 4. I think it might have been 2, maybe 3 when the rotation came across. But it's a weird kind of a defensive setup here from Caren Tiger. It does leave the 1 flag very open though.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what because you could see them starting the rotation. It looks like they're going to be pushing the 3 line, which is fine.
I think this is actually not too great for Caren Tiger, because if they do push up here, have the majority of their tanks up towards the northern part of the map, there is actually that house that you can sit behind for Caren Tiger. For EL Gaming, sorry, on the flag. Now, admittedly, Yupa can probably rotate across to the base and get resets from there, but it does just make it a little bit easier to sit on that cap for EL.
It does, but the 1 cap, to actually sit out and cap on 1 cap is not really a viable strategy.
No.
What's good, though, is that CT is going to come up behind, and I'm not sure if Quiet is expecting this. Quiet is sitting there, so I'm guessing he's spotting there, and he's expecting to push up there.
He would have spotted them by now.
Yeah. So they've kind of done a little bit of a, here you go, you take this side of the map, we take this side of the map, which you don't see too often unless facing each other in the middle.
Yeah, Quiet gets a couple of shots in there. It's an okay trade, but yeah, he does get punished for it. Nice shot from Maro. Still, 2 shots for 1. You could kind of say that's worth it for Quiet.
Halion is now moving as well up to A5, so he's going to try to block that off if he can.
This is an issue here as well. You can see now Hardliner and Black are starting to push forward. Black not getting punished at all.
Was Halion playing last map?
No.
Who is not there? Poly, is it?
Poly, yeah, it's not Poly.
Okay, so they moved Halion out to Poly, probably because Halion has taken over the light tank role then.
They do tend to be one of those teams that does shift players around a lot during their matches. Yupa spotted out by Hardliner. Now a bit of presence into the hill here actually from Caren Tiger. But they're kind of being wrapped upon. This could be dangerous. Halion sitting in A4, so he'll have shots onto S4, but 280 alpha shots, not really going to be bothering a 5A. These other 5As, though, perhaps are going to be bothering S4. He's going to be completely caught off on his own. There's no one from EL Gaming to help him.
And 1 is moving in now. I'm just wondering what the autoloaders, if they're going to get them in the game. S4 is down there.
S4's still alive. He should have died by now. Oh, Quiet. That looked a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, he's lucky. He's a lucky boy that he didn't throw away more HP there.
He didn't throw away any, I don't think.
Yeah, well, then he's very lucky because he bounced on his front.
Pogo stick. Mordame just sitting here. He's tracked. Going to be clipped out by Quiet. 1 more shot. Won't be quite enough. It was a nice roll, though, from Quiet.
Yeah, this is already over, and I know you said they're going to get him for free, which they because they had the hill presence. It only takes them an extra 3-4 seconds, and they had most of the tanks there. EL knew what they were doing. I think CT. Look, they tried something. It just didn't work. I don't think there's much more to say about it.
Yeah.
Say about it than that.
Yeah, it was very non-standard from CT. That is for sure. Hardliner might go down to Hellion here. 312 would be a nice roll. If he even fires, which he can't.
What did he, yeah, there we go. There's the auto aim into the ground.
Love and life. No, not that it would have really made a difference here. So 2-0 for EL Gaming is what it's going to be. Upa in the E4. I wanted to mention that last match as well. Like Rattlesnake playing the E4 for EL Gaming.
Yeah.
I would have thought if you're going to have a mouse, Rattlesnake's going to be the first guy you will put in it. But they've decided to put him in an E4 instead.
Yeah, not sure why they've done it. It's obviously working for EL. CT though, again, Yupa was probably one of their highest damage dealers last season. He was one of their impact players. Maybe he's a bit low on confidence as well.
Perhaps.
Same thing, who did we speak about before?
Helkarai.
Also one of their main impact players. He's playing some different roles. I know he was in the back chat on attack, which I was happy to see him in, rather than something else.
Actually, he was on defense there as well, I'm pretty sure.
He was on defense in the back chat as well?
I think so.
Yeah, which is good to see, but yeah, again, I'm not sure with CT what's happening here. It is the EL after all. Let's put that in there, but I would have liked to see a bit more aggression and a bit more CT way of playing.
Decisiveness.
Yeah, exactly, decisiveness. And I'm sure again, for me, they're one of the best counter-strat teams in the league. We know that when we play them, they're going to know inside out what we're doing. And I'm sure they're trying to do the same thing to EL, and it obviously just didn't work out that game. And I think I would have rather seen something standard, at least on a Mines defense. But anyway.
Yeah, so 2-0 there on Mines. Prokhorovka coming up here as well. A little worried about my 5-2 prediction now. But in saying that, we will see what we will see. Yeah, it did look like S4 kind of just got completely baited out there, but in fact, EL Gaming was playing on another level, and they were baiting out for themselves. And so they do pick up that fairly decent sort of round, even though S4 goes down. You know, he's the only one that gets dropped. So
yeah.
Can't really complain about that one for EL. Very, very convincing again there. I don't know. I mean, would we have seen a bit of a different result had Caren Tiger played more standard, just set up across the map? I feel like maybe it would have dragged on a little bit longer, but would EL have ended up winning anyway? Maybe.
Maybe. Well, that's the thing with Mines as well. If you can drag it out, you're going to force the enemy team to do some kind of hard push into you, which normally favors you. So yeah, you're right. EL is obviously good enough to dig any team out as well, so like you said, maybe it would have just delayed the inevitable on that map, unfortunately.
Perhaps. And are they going to delay the inevitable on Prokhorovka as well? I feel like it is almost inevitable on Prok. I mean, you seem to think that Caren Tiger's quite good on Prok, but I don't think that they really match up to EL Gaming on Prok.
No, I agree with that. I think EL is very good at reacting on Prok, but I do know that CT, from play against them, plays similar to EL on that map. Right. And again, I don't want to give away too much from what happens in trainings and so on, because that's just not what you do. But I know that they play a similar style. They like to play fast. They like to take control.
Right.
But then they might try something completely different as well. If they're going to be running TDs and play more defensive rather than trying to beat EL at their own game, because it is hard. We obviously managed to do it a few times last season, but it's very hard. Not sure if CT is in the mind frame they're thinking that they can actually beat EL at their own games. They might just go more defensive. I
mean, look, we're only 2 rounds in, and it is 2-0 to EL Gaming, but there's a chance that Caren Tiger still can come back. Though I feel if we get to 3-0, that's the kind of the teetering point, the tipping point.
Yeah.
And then 4-0, that's basically game over. I mean, we head on to Sand River.
Yeah.
It's just GG, basically, I think. Maybe even 5-0 if we get to there.
Yeah.
But Caren Tiger, you know, we did see them playing on Prokhorovka. I believe it was against Yato. They went down 0-2. They lost both sides. They didn't look really like they were close at all in either of those rounds. So here against EL Gaming, who at the moment has played it 4 times, they've won 75% of the rounds they've played this season. They're probably coming in with a bit of confidence, I would say.
They do, but again, CT should know how EL plays, because EL doesn't really come out with anything fancy or anything very different.
Right.
They have one way they're playing, and that's how they play. And if CT can work that out and really, if they come in with a game plan again, just like they tried to do on Mines, but actually a better plan, then hopefully they can at least go 1-1 here.
A plan that works?
Yeah, a plan that works.
Yeah, it's
indeed.
so much easier when you just get to sit here and talk about it, isn't it?
Yes.
You could just...
Pretty comfortable.
Yeah, just, who cares?
Yeah, I think I might just do once I'm at the stage where I don't feel like maybe I cut it for Gold League any longer. Kind of like Ducky on EU when I'm not when I'm not at the stage where I can
sure we're
play
not already
any
there?
longer.
Like, is this just like a bit of a trial run? I mean, wink, wink.
Yeah, exactly. When I can't play any longer, I don't have the skill set any longer. I just go into casting.
Yeah,
it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. Although, to be fair, you've got the easy day. We've got the 2 matches today.
Yeah.
When we start doing 4-match days, it can be
where the muscle starts aching, a little bit of lactic acid comes.
You need that Viking
up.
blood, mate. You need the Viking blood. You can't dog halfway through like you did last night.
Mate, it was cold.
It was
10
cold.
degrees.
This guy is from Sweden, and he was cold at a football match last night, so he left at half-time.
The beer wasn't very good either, let's be
Oh,
honest.
God.
Victoria bitter. Come on, Sydney.
Jesus. All right, I don't know what to do about you, Safi, but maybe we'll see what happens. Prokhorovka, though, I think we've talked about that one to death, really, here for Caren Tiger and EL. And I think we've pretty much talked to death about, really, the entire match here. So, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of hoping to see a bit of a long series, not just for the sake of viewing, but for the sake of my fantasy team as well, Saf, because I've got a couple of EL players in there. I've got a couple of Caren Tiger players in there.
So do I. You see, yeah, I probably should think about that more as well. Which games are more likely? I probably should just bang CT because they play 9 rounds every week.
Exactly.
By the looks of things, maybe I should start stacking a few more CT players. Not worrying too much about who's winning and losing.
Yep. I mean, Lupin players actually at the moment are probably the best buy of Fantasy League. Like, they had a 5-4, which they won last week against Caren Tiger.
Yeah.
And they're like 970, which is basically $200 cheaper than a lot of the other players. So if you want to play Fantasy League, go fantasy.eslgaming.wot. You can try and beat Safi, which won't be very hard. You can try and beat me, which will be very hard. But there are some prizes as well. If you get first place, you can win some premium time, you can win some gold, all that sort of fun stuff.
I'm just waiting for the first update to happen because you're talking predictions up. We know how they're going. Let's see how your
Look,
fantasy
mate,
goes.
I won the predictions last season, so I'm just giving everyone else a handicap.
Yeah,
that's how we're going to go about it. Yeah. But we are on to Prokhorovka. Bat chats across the board. E50M's out though for EL Gaming, 2 of them.
Yep.
A little interesting.
Well, the E50M just has a great gun, no matter what.
Does it?
Yeah, what Ball says.
I don't know. Ball is a professional World of Tanks player, and he said it has a bad gun.
Yeah, the E50M and 215B has pretty bad guns. Yeah, but no,
and STRV.
Worst gun I haven't heard that one actually, but okay, that's good to know. Okay, this is interesting. Both teams are trying to do something a little bit differently. EL is trying to take control of the hill. They have the heavies very close by, so they can drop over the middle. Yupa is out wide on the 1-2
This
line.
could really work very well, though, for EL Gaming. Look at the position that Akiov is in. If he's spotted, which I have to imagine he is sitting there, these Batchats get up on that hill, they can just clip him in the side. There's not really anyone that can do too much about it. I guess Mordame has a shot in there. Maybe Hallian, if he's within render distance.
Akio is dead. He should be dead. No question about it. If he's lit...
quiet, taking a big chunk of damage.
Yeah, he shouldn't be sitting where he was sitting to clip. He should know better than that as well.
Hardline is taking damage here as well. This is a good start. He's on fire. What? Well, here we go. Caren Tiger, let's go. This is your round now. They've done a lot of damage early on. Caren Tiger have a chance.
Akio is going down though.
They need to save Akio or need to get something off.
Akio is dead. They need to do some kind of rotation and win the map in other places. They need to start taking control. Yeah, Black's going to go down to Helkarai, which is good for them. If he gets a shot before it tips, yeah, Helkarai held the shot, which is good. He still needs to get rid of Black.
And one does take down Helkarai.
And that just happened. So Black gets away. Helkarai, yeah. CT's going to put the cap pressure on. EL is probably going to get back. Let's see if Hallian and Modame can get into position to punish through the middle. Yeah,
well, at least Hallian's in an STRV. It does motor around the map pretty quick.
Yeah, but you wanted him in E3 right now. And he's nowhere close. So I think this is going to be painful.
It is going to be painful, but 10 seconds left on that cap. Someone's going to have to hightail it in there for EL Gaming. Does seem as though it is going to be M1 in his WZ1115A. Should be able to get a reset. Yeah, there we go. Lots of resets actually coming out for EL Gaming. So, no problems there. And that's basically the round over, one would think, for Caren Tiger. But in saying that, EL Gaming have sacrificed a lot of HP here. S4 does get the kill on Yupa. It's still 6 versus 5 favorable for EL Gaming. This one still can swing both ways.
They need to get S4 down, and S4 needs to misplay, but there we go. There's no S7. Yeah, so now it's GG.
There was a moment there where it could have tipped.
Yeah, there was a very... You would still have to be very positive.
Look, I'm a positive guy.
Yeah,
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think you guys can win games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Every now and then.
Every now and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just not against EL.
Yeah, okay. Very well aware of that one. No faith, Jordan Elfish. Okay, Helcry can farm some points.
No, he can't. What happened there? Did he die? I think the obs mod was just broken, and he was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he must have been dead.
Oh, yeah, because Helcry died when he was
that's
had
right.
black on one shot.
Yeah, so he was dead. Caren Tiger now down 0-3. This is, this is like, that's it for me, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the way that Caren Tiger started in that one, yeah, they were probably going to lose AkiOV. Even if they did, they had chances across the map to be able to pick up a win there, and it just didn't work out for them. So I just think, it's the same CT that we saw last week, where it's just not working.
Yeah, again, I don't like how they set up with Aki there, up the front.
Yeah.
Aki should have died for not much damage in return, quite overextended, but I just don't like that setup. Obviously, they had something, they had an idea, they wanted to execute on it. But EL, again, EL just play their game. They just stay compact. They stay where they can all go in and support each other. And they're very organized. That's why they're number one on APAC at the moment.
Yeah, number one.
Until we start playing again.
Haven't you already lost to them once this season?
Yeah, but...
What was the score? 5-2?
Yeah, we just had a bit of bad luck.
Oh, yeah. Never lucky.
Cable problems.
Never lucky.
The Sharks ate the cables.
Yeah. I hear that. I have no idea how Black survived there. Well,
Helcry
Hellcry ran out of ammo, but
yeah.
No one else had shots. Mordame? He must have been on reload as well, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. He should have gone down to someone else, but maybe they were just the worst coming ever with a reload. Helcry then got caught by all the heavies because he was probably too busy clipping Black. So he didn't actually pay attention. The heavies had pushed that far forward, and the heavies just went...
Having
bang.
too much fun doing demand.
Yeah. Pretty easy in a back shot, actually. Yeah. You probably penned 1 on 5.
Is that why you're not up towards the top of the damage charts yet this season?
I think you have to play games to actually be up there.
Average damage charts?
Damage is luck.
Damage is luck, yeah.
Everything's luck.
Just like team efficiency is life sometimes.
Yeah, this is true.
3-0 for EL Gaming over Caren Tiger at the moment. Prokhorovka, first round, very convincing for EL Gaming, even though Caren Tiger was kind of in it.
Yeah.
It always sort of, after that very initial start, just felt like EL Gaming was going to win anyway. They got the pick on Hellcry, they got the pick on AkiOV, and from there it was like game over.
I don't feel that they needed to put three on cap and put that much pressure, because their other two tanks were so out of the fight.
Yep.
They needed to wait an extra 20 seconds. They needed to get the STRV in position where he could shoot into the middle. But instead he was caught down somewhere in no man's land. And the other Batchat was also caught in no man's land. So yeah, look.
Well, anyway, the TLDR for me is I've got no faith in Caren Tiger now.
Nah, I think...
Certainly not against EL Gaming.
I still think they might be able to pick up one round, which means that
maybe Sand River. Prokhorovka, do you reckon? I don't think it's coming on Proc.
Honestly, again, it depends how they set up now. If they don't set up perfectly, yeah, they'll go down pretty quickly, and then my faith is in Sand River that they pick one up on Sand River.
Well, EL Gaming will have the choice of side on Sand River. Because it is Caren Tiger's pick.
Yeah, but now we've seen more of Sand River being played across the other regions as well, and because we've seen that, well, the teams should start getting a bit better on the idea of how to play it.
Okay.
So I'm not going to put too much weight on which side they start on.
I really just hope your prediction's wrong. That's all I care about right now.
I know you do.
I hope
if I get it right, I'm just going to mic drop and walk in.
5-0. You can't mic drop like that. You're wearing it on your head. Drop your head. Go ahead.
I'll figure
Be
something
my
out.
guest.
Yeah.
T.E. Staff Swede.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just hope it's either 5-0 or 5-2.
Yeah.
I don't even care if I get it right anymore. Just as long as you're wrong, and you can deal with what I have to deal with.
I thought you were a positive guy.
I am a positive guy, but just not when it comes to team efficiency. Because you guys bully the most out of anyone in TeamSpeak.
Feels bad.
Rude dudes. You're even a mod. You're supposed to be the shining bastion of the Twitch chat.
You see, my philosophy is I speak from the heart.
Uh-huh.
At least you know
What
where
heart?
I stand. Yeah.
What heart?
This is true.
It's shriveled up and black.
Wow.
Wow.
That's toxic.
Just like you.
Yeah, okay. But anyway.
Too much fun on the broadcast. We're not allowed to have this much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we got rid of Alex.
Oh, really?
Because he was too much fun.
Yeah. He had a lot of fun.
He did have fun.
He had a lot of fun.
He's even still here.
Yeah.
Making a surprise entrance.
Mate,
down
he
at the
gave me a
bottom.
free burger today.
I got a free burger.
I like Alex. He's a good guy.
He makes good burgers. At least we'll give him that.
Yeah.
That's why he likes talking about food so much.
Well, this is true, actually. I've never picked up on that. Didn't he do like an RL stream as well when he was making... he was making something in the kitchen, someone mentioned.
Don't even talk to you about Alex's IRL streams in my kitchen. He burnt a capsicum on my stove.
Really?
Just melted into the stove.
I should have watched it then.
He's actually done multiple, yeah.
Okay.
You can watch. But yeah, it's never a good time when there's a live stream going on. But what?
Okay, so they're running it. We've actually seen this in training against them, so I know how they're going to be setting up. So I'll be curious to see how EL plays against this, because I know how we played it. So let's have a look what EL does.
Well, tell me, what would you do against that setup?
For us, what we looked at was obviously just the STRVs and TDs. We need to make sure they don't get in position. So we ended up taking the 7, 8, 9 line very hard.
Okay.
And just dig them out and stop them from getting in position. Because once they're in position, it hurts.
GG.
Yeah, it hurts. It's not necessarily GG, but it hurts.
Goodness me. Black's taken a fair bit of damage early on that spotting run, and could even take a little bit more.
He should have taken another one, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, come on.
Gets out of it.
But Batchat gun, Yupa.
I don't think that was the Batchat gun. I think he just fired a little bit too early.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, they've gone for a different strategy than what you would have opted to go for. They've played a little bit slower. They get the spots early, I guess, from Black.
Yeah.
Recognize maybe that there isn't a TD up in A0, or there wasn't at the time.
Now EL is grouping up, though, very quickly.
It's so hard, though, to think, like, where are those STRVs going to be? Where is that Foch B going to be? Because, you know, you could have them on the 1-2 line. You can have them on the A0 area. You can have Hellcry where he is.
I think EL is expecting one to be up at A9 and one to be at either A8 or A6.
And then there needs to be one more still. So there's just so many threats there.
Which is...
If you gamble incorrectly, then you just take a big chunk of damage.
Well,
but
here comes the push over the middle. Yep, they've spotted that that's probably the best way to go. Let's see how much damage they take in return. This is the key thing now.
Well, they've taken a fairly decent amount, but Nadeko is under a lot of pressure. Quiet gets in there, slips in, and, well, should start clipping out Nadeko in a second, and he does. One more shot may be enough, but no, Quiet runs into the 50B, into the Foch B even.
Yep.
And that's not worked out too nicely for EL. But now they know where the Foch B is, at least.
Yeah. And Nadeko will go down now, like he should go down. But let's see what CTS have done with the rest of the tanks.
There's a lot of health lost here for EL Gaming. Rattlesnake's dropped, Black's dropped, M1's dropped. Now Hardliner's taking a few shots.
This is good for CT. This is great.
It is?
Yeah.
They should win from here.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, but don't you remember all that faith you had about them on Sand River? If they get this one on proc, then surely I'm right. And they get one on Sand River.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Sand River is not a CT map.
What a fair weather fan.
Yeah, no. You're right, actually. I shouldn't have been so happy. Kind of regretting everything.
You always get caught.
Yeah.
You can say one thing and then you're just like, oh damn it.
No one can prove it.
Gonna regret that.
There's no proof.
Alright, but yeah, the way this is looking for EL Gaming is they've just sacrificed far too much HP. They didn't really have an idea of what they needed to be doing or wanted to be doing against those tank destroyers, and they've walked into the Foch B, and the Foch B, 6-clip autoloader, 400 alpha each shot, 2400 damage.
Moro's bouncing a lot, Moro's bouncing a lot. He just needs to make sure he doesn't bleed HP.
I think even if he does bleed HP, they're still in a decent enough position.
Yeah, no, they are. But I guess probably what I should correct myself there. This is where you see a lot of players keep trading rather than conserving their HP and letting the teammates work from the back. They try to go for the extra damage themselves because obviously they want to help the team. They want to do damage. Yeah. But his position now is just a spot. And he should know now that the rotation is coming on the 1-2 line. Yeah,
Maro, pretty experienced. I mean, he played last season at WGL, wasn't in the Caren Tiger lineup in Season 1, but he was a mainstay last season, a very, very strong heavy tank player, so I think he's probably got a decent idea of what he needs to be doing here. Might just be enough for Caren Tiger to get a map, or a round even, but somehow EL Gaming might find a way to weasel themselves out of this one.
Yeah, well, CT would have to misplay big time.
We've seen it before.
Yeah.
EL Gaming has come out of positions that are pretty bad, particularly on Prokhorovka. Not necessarily this bad, though, I don't think.
Nah, but this is where you look at that A1-2. Look at the amount of pain if EL pushes into that.
Yeah. No pain, no gain, Staff.
Yeah, I know that.
That's what they say.
Yeah, I'm going in. That's probably one of my key phrases when we're playing.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of a bit of pain, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't like to push into that.
No, I don't think anyone would be particularly keen to do that. Kind of just looks like a bit of a pub game right now, you know? You've got your STRVs, you've got your Fosh Bs, they're all just sitting in A1, A2.
The TD's role playing back on the red line.
Yeah.
I'm a TD. I'm in WGL. Now look, there's not much EL can do. All they can try to do is go rotate over on the 7-8-9 line, try to gain some map control, try to get some idea where the back chats are. If they do that, then maybe catch someone off. But Yupa is retreating. We can see now he was all the way up across the middle. He's pulled back. He's experienced enough to know that there's no point for him being that far up. Because even if EL pushes over with everything they got, and then you still have Aki, cruising along on 2,500 HP in his mouse.
Chilling like a villain.
Yeah.
But a mouse on 2,500 HP is going to be a little bit difficult for EL Gaming to deal with at this point. 4.5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
Black is going for a information play here, just to scout up on the hill, see if there's something that maybe EL Gaming can sort of take advantage of, capitalize on. But he's not going to spot anything out, and that in itself is information. But I don't think it helps EL Gaming here. I mean, even if they set up perfectly on this 2 flag, even if they force a brawl, Caren Tiger's got just that much more HP, extra guns in the game. There shouldn't be a situation that Caren Tiger loses from.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, this should be in the bag.
99 times out of 100.
Yeah, we could probably throw this somehow.
Yeah, anyone could throw it. I mean, you guys probably the best of it. Someone would just drive up on like G9 and drive off the cliff.
Don't worry. Who would do such a thing?
Who would do such a thing? Thinking face.
Yeah, of course.
Forehead.
And you call me mean. Look at all these sly little digs coming out. Okay, so let's see. EL Black hasn't got any further because he knows that if he gets spotted, he's probably scared of an STRV sitting up there. I'm not sure if EL is actually aware that all the TDs have moved across because they were getting shot from the STRVs back on the 6th line.
Yeah.
CT was smart enough to just relocate them once the lull happened. But yeah, EL just don't have any HP. They don't really have anyone that they can send in first either for a 1-2 line push. They're just poking and prodding and hoping they can get any kind of free damage out to even it out, but yeah.
There's nothing you can do in this situation really as EL. Like, you can only hope for a misplay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the only way they win this. I don't even know, like, even if you got a random blind fire onto Mordame and penned him and killed him, that's not even enough.
Nah.
Like,
there's still 2 more STRVs.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Going, hey boys. Say hello to my little friend.
I don't want to say hello to anything about your little friend, Saf.
That's not the nickname I'm giving.
Oh yeah.
I use, but anyway. Moving on.
Did you call it the salty Swede?
Oh, wow, Elfie.
Look, it just gets like that sometimes, man. Like, what else are we going to say?
I know there's a little bit of a lull in the game right now.
There might be a bit of a lull in the Twitch chat as well.
Oh, wow. You actually went there. See, because I'm a polite person, I don't actually know how far I can go here. Well,
I like to push the boundaries sometimes.
Clearly, I know that there's a few more steps towards the line that I can take.
Yeah.
Before someone comes and just disconnects me. Tells me stay on the battlefield.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, we've had some pretty interesting things when we've had listen-ins with the teams as well, you know, so...
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Us casters like to get away with some things too.
Yeah, indeed. I think my favorite is still Skeleton.
Skull, yeah.
Skeleton.
Well, to be fair, TCC had some good ones as well. Ella's for learning.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, no, they did have some good ones. I feel like TCZ probably might have been a little bit set up a few times, though, you don't reckon? Or was
but you don't know when you're on.
Maybe some way. Well, you do. I think we get listening on TeamSpeak, and if it's muted, you're not on, and if it's unmuted, it's listening in. So I think you can gauge it.
You can probably gauge it, I guess. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's how it works, because we're obviously playing. We're not paying that much attention, but you just need 2 screens up. But yeah, TCZ was a bit of alpha left, because someone did run into a wall, didn't they?
In the meanwhile, actually, while we've been just bantering about rubbish, your game has done a little bit of damage. Mordame has gone down. AkiOV's a bit low. They've got some map control here, and Black's going to push in.
Yeah.
We'll take down Nupa in the bat chat, but... even though this is kind of looking okay at the moment, actually, for EL, I just don't think that they have enough time to deal with Caren Tiger right now. AkiOV in the mouse will probably go down to this next shot. Actually won't penetrate there from Black.
Yeah.
Batchat life. Oh, that really sucks for him, man.
Yeah. No, not fun. But they still have the 2 STRVs sitting there at full HP. And to get rid of an STRV when they're that far away. Again, I think EL did everything correctly. They did their rotations that we discussed, taking control of the 0 line, slowly start working the map back, and then slowly start bleeding some damage, but they were always way too far behind.
Yeah.
Unless they got a couple of lucky
But like,
maybe.
let's say they have another 2 minutes to work with here.
Yeah.
This suddenly becomes a winnable situation. It's
That-
obviously very tough.
Is it? 1,800 damage, 2 STRVs, everyone is a one-shot?
Not everyone. The Bat Chat had 518 HP.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess. But yeah, I like how positive.
I like
you are,
my
George.
optimism.
Yeah,
you know, it was doable. Again, we would have had to seen a misplay from Caren Tiger, but we've seen misplays from Caren Tiger in the past.
We've seen misplays from them, but there's misplays, and then there's misplays when it's hectic and things are happening everywhere. But when you're just sitting there and you have the map and you have everything set up, yeah, at this level. Yeah, you shouldn't, and if you do, you probably need to go in the Nordic corner for a couple of weeks and not be put back on the roster.
Yeah, probably. All right, well, now at 3-1. Still feeling like you've got 5-1 in the bag?
No.
Sand River's not going to be a 2-0.
I think it might be 1-1, and I'll be crying a little bit on the inside.
Yeah, the boys. Runeberg, though, Caren Tiger starting on defense. Maybe we're then at 5-3.
Yeah, indeed. Honestly, if it goes 1-1, I think your prediction is out the window as well. I don't think CT should lose defense on Runeberg. But again, EL is a good team. CT has been tilting. They haven't been doing too well, so who knows? Who knows?
Nobody knows. You know nothing, Safi.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite work.
No.
Feels bad.
Yeah.
But this was kind of, like, Quiet just ran into a massive crossfire. And I thought he was going to kill Nadeko, but to sacrifice the Bat Chat for that, even if he would have killed Nadeko, it still doesn't feel worth it.
Nah, but you see EL do this a lot. They love to just push straight over the middle, and it works a lot of times for them, and that's probably why they didn't hesitate in doing it. And even if they did lose one Bat Chat, they still have another Bat Chat, and that's really all they need against such a TD setup. So if they would have traded the ISM for the Bat Chat, that would have been, I guess, good for them. But again, they bled so much HP in the middle as well from the heavy tanks.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying early on when you asked how would you break it, I would try to make sure that they don't get into position. You
essentially put your opponent out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you do against an artillery sometimes as well.
Yeah.
You play fast.
Yeah.
Same kind of concept with the TD. Obviously, you can get punished for both, but...
Indeed, but once you let them set up with the TDs, and on such an open map where they just have clean firing lines...
what do you do from there? You die.
You're gonna have to trade a lot of HP to dig the other tanks out, because the TDs you leave for last anyway. But anyway, EL played it differently, and they lost.
So, 3-1. Sand River, our next map. Caren Tiger have 100% win rate on Sand River so far this season, but that was against 7 Pirates, who looked like they had no idea what they were doing on that map. And...
oh, did they win both rounds against?
They did win both rounds.
Oh, okay.
They just dominated them.
Yeah.
Dominated them. EL Gaming, though, have played Sand River a little bit this season. You guys had first-hand experience there. One apiece, correct?
Yeah, one apiece.
Yeah.
And look, again, I think EL, you could see they've trained a lot more than we have. We've only been trading against good trades, which isn't the best indicator for us. No offense to them. It was really good for them to train as much as they did with us, because I know they probably don't train as much normally. But it was hard for us to get an indication. Their defense, they did look a bit lost.
I remember playing for good trades in one of those scripts.
Oh, yeah, no, I think you did as well.
Yeah.
That shows you the level of training that we got.
Yeah, exactly. Look, mate, I was never bottom damage dealer, all right?
We were laughing at that, because there was a few games where
I was top damage.
Come on.
And Bol got absolutely wrecked on Himmelsdorf as well. I remember that. He was peeking the corner on a 5A.
Yeah.
I was in a mouse, penned him twice. He didn't pen me once.
Okay.
Get wrecked, Bol.
I think actually I remember that one.
Yeah.
I think I remember that one as well. I think he might have heard a little bit on TeamSpeak. But anyway, back to Sand River. They did struggle on defense. On attack, it was, again, we lost our defense game against them, because we are just not familiar with the rotations enough.
Right.
We just gave up the map, and they just strangled us like they do.
Yeah, it did. I mean, to be very blunt to you, Sav, it looked like you guys had no idea what you were doing on defense.
We had a really good idea, but we only knew what's been working against lesser teams.
Exactly. It was like you guys got in your positions, and then EL just found holes.
They found the holes that they needed, and we didn't do anything.
There was so much free damage.
Again, we didn't do anything on the northern part of the map.
Yeah.
We just blocked ourselves in, and we gave them the control, and we just wasn't really sure which rotations needed to happen.
Exactly.
And that's just a lack of experience. And again, again, don't take anything away from EL, because they're obviously a really good team, but I felt that we lost that map rather than the other way around. And now we've seen, as I mentioned before, Sand River being played a lot. So both teams should have a pretty good idea.
I think it's fair enough. I mean, what about when you guys played against EL Gaming and they were on the defense?
Yep.
That was the one that you won.
Yeah.
You won on your attack. Hokia kind of threw his life away. If he hadn't done that, did you feel like it was going to go anywhere different?
No, I think they gave us way too much map control again. They were sitting. They pretty much did what we did. They sat too passively, too far back to actually be able to really do an impact. I'm pretty sure we would have been able to dig Hockey out even if he didn't YOLO in like he did, because we had most of our tanks up there. They were really heavily split on the other side of the map. So, but anyway, who knows? Maybe it wouldn't have happened as well, because again, EL is a very good team and they react very quickly. Yeah.
So we'll see what they can do against Caren Tiger here. Now, Caren Tiger have looked good on Sand River. Against 7 Pirates, I don't know how good of an indication that is, though. I mean, 7 Pirates, they just didn't really seem too comfortable on the map, even though I think it was actually 7 Pirates' choice. Guess we're going to find out, though.
And they set up exactly like EL did, but obviously they probably maybe not necessarily at the level of EL, and they haven't been playing enough together with each other to really know how the rotations works. But here we go.
Pattern coming out here for Yupa.
Yeah.
Has had a bit of a buff.
Yeah, it had a bit of a turret buff. It obviously has a really good gun. It has the gun depression as well, which is really nice. I think I saw it briefly in EU when I just had a glance before my hotel Wi-Fi ran out of data because Australia.
Oh yeah.
350 megabytes per day. Feels amazing. But yeah, it's a very, very comfortable tank to play. EL setting up, taking the middle. CT setting up fairly standard. Bad shots. They're boosting up the light tank as well. I think the light tank might have failed. I'm guessing that's Helcry, is it? No, it's Halion. Okay, so Halion. That's
definitely taking the light tank.
Yeah, indeed. Which is, and again, I don't know that much about Halion, but I do feel like he's definitely the newest player in the team.
Yeah, he is the new. He's new in this season, but I swear I've seen the name somewhere before. Like, maybe it's just random pub battles on the Asia server, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe he played in Season 1 for Caren Tiger or for B Gaming.
He could have. I do feel that from just watching him play that he does do sometimes a bit of a silly trade. Right. And that might be because he's more comfortable in light tanks. But I know when I've seen him in other tanks, he's done some silly things. Yupa floating around, knocking down some trees.
It's always a good time when Yupa's involved.
Yeah.
Very north-heavy setup, though, from EL Gaming. Hardliner really the only one with any kind of presence towards the southern part, and even he is kind of just more playing the middle of the map.
Yeah.
So you can already immediately tell there's not really much interest on that one flag at the moment from EL.
Yeah, EL's just trying to gather info. That's all they're doing at the moment. I'm guessing it will see, unless they're doing a heavy push north, we'll see M1 starting to gain some more intel down south, unless he's trying to do the boost himself. He's hovering around. No, he's pulling back now as well, so I'm expecting a pretty hard push up towards A0 soon to try to take control of that area.
And indeed, it does seem as though EL Gaming are going to be doing that. Quiet and Black making their way up their little ramp at about A7. This is where they kind of need to slow down a little bit, right? Because there are a couple of players from Caren Tiger waiting for them there. You can't just YOLO over that and expect to survive too much. So they need to sort of split the offense, split the defense. And I liked what Caren Tiger did when they were in this kind of a situation. They sent the 5As up that sort of alleyway, took a lot of damage on the 5As from the Bat Chats, but then the Bat Chats were on reload.
Yeah.
Their very own Bat Chats came over the A7 ramp and just completely wrecked the defensive Bat Chats. But EL Gaming, I mean, they could do something similar here. Try and beat Caren Tiger at their own game, I suppose.
Well, you can see EL slowly gaining ground, and they haven't really taken any damage for it. WZ needs to make sure they're not overextending as well, so Black can get a free clip into them.
Rattlesnake takes a big chunk of damage crossing there. Hellcry is going to look forward here for a shot onto Rokyal, but not going to be able to penetrate that one. Maro's going to go for one of his own, and that's a pretty bad trade for Caren Tiger. 2 shots fired, neither of them penetrate. They take 2 shots in return. This one will definitely, never mind, won't penetrate. Just thought it probably would.
CT's trading is not good. This should be EL finishing up the tanks there.
Great timing as well coming out here from M1 just to push in. He's got 1 more shot left in the clip. That's going to be enough. I guess considering Rattlesnake gets the kill anyway. Oh, he's got 2 shots left in the clip. Even better. But he is under a bit of pressure from Mordame. That little rock is going to provide some small semblance of cover.
Yeah. Now, EL won both the trades and then won the overmatch as well. The WZs of Helcary and I can't remember who else it was, needed to trade a little bit better morale.
Yeah. They come out of that with a health disadvantage initially. They've started doing a little bit more damage now, though. But Caren Tiger, not much of a chance that they're going to be able to come back into this one. This kind of a player disadvantage, 2 tanks down, cap time already up to 16 seconds. Caren Tiger's going to have to throw away tank to get the reset here, and it's going to be Hallion.
Yeah, Hawkeye's already moving to block out from Yupa in the pattern. Light tank, I don't think he can get any resets. He'll probably try to cross. No, Modame is the one that's trying to get across to get side shots. Yupa is doing what he can, but
nice shot from Hawkeye. Good roll as well.
I'm not sure why the WZs from CT felt that they had to be so aggressive to get the resets. That's kind of because again, you can see EL being grouped up and CT reacting too slowly.
3 players left on Caren Tiger. Rattlesnake's a one shot. Hawkeye does take down Modame.
Alien probably got about 10 more seconds to live.
Might be the only prediction you get right tonight, Saf. Don't
Really?
even know if that one was right.
Right, this is bringing me closer to my prediction.
No.
Yeah.
EL Gaming, very convincing first half of Sand River. I reckon they've got this wrapped up 2-0. Moving over to the defense. You yourself said it was a defensive map.
Pretty comfortable. Pretty confident.
Pretty confident? All right.
Got this in the bag.
Let's see. Yeah. Let's see.
Now, let's hope CT.
Let's not. Actually, I do hope they do. I hope they do. And I hope they win some games on Ruinberg as well. At least then we can get a bit of a closer match.
Yeah, I would like to... Again, it is EL, so it's also going to be tough for CT. But I would like to see them just syncing a little bit better. They just don't seem to be on the same wavelength. And it's...
Like, that could have been a winnable round, even.
Yeah.
If their WZ111s had traded a little bit better in that very first initial trade where they took 2 for 0, if they would have done 2 for 0, maybe Caren Tiger wins that round.
But the thing is, they played EL long enough as well, just like we do, that they should kind of know. And it's easy for me to sit here now in the cost of saying it because we did exactly the same thing against them the previous week.
Right.
But I still feel like CT should know better than keeping their WZs going so aggressive, because Aki, I think, is calling as well, and Aki is a very good caller. He's great at calling, and it's uncharacteristic for CT to play so unsynced as they're doing at the moment. Saf, mediums are far away.
Important question for you. Did you put Hawkeye on your fantasy team?
No.
Bad luck. He did 5k damage that last game. He also did 500 team damage. I don't know if that kind of counts as minus points.
That should be like minus double.
But he's on my team, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
We good, boys. We good.
Yeah.
At
least that might be one thing you're good at then.
My fantasy team is going to win. Shame I can't win the prize.
I think I need to speak to the boys at the back and just tell them to hide all the numbers from you from now on as well.
They can't hide the numbers.
Yeah, I know they
can't.
It's
my job.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my job to get the numbers.
So if you don't get it right, that's really what it comes down to. It's not an if.
Nah.
You should win. And if you don't, shame on you. Shame.
Mate, you're a professional player. You know the teams in and out.
Mate,
if you don't win,
I only focus on team efficiency.
Shame on you.
I only focus
Why isn't your team full of team efficiency players then? No faith, Safi. You call me no faith, elfish guy.
Because we're not playing. Again.
That's the cop-out answer. Cop-out answer. To be fair, I did take Botek out of my lineup as well.
Oh, fits bad.
Botek was in.
Yeah.
But then I realized you guys don't play this game. So I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, how am I getting points off him? I'm not.
Spot on.
Anyway, 4-1.
Yeah.
Be
tough.
Tiger.
It'll be tough. What did I predict?
5-1?
Yeah.
No, 5-2.
No, 5-1.
No, you said 5-2.
I said 5-1.
I said 5-2. Oh, you said 5-1.
Yeah. That's why I've been smiling and sitting here smiling, giggling to myself because you got the predictions wrong earlier.
Right.
So I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to go when the 5-1 happens. I'll just do my mic drop. But nah, honestly, I think CT still has a chance on the attack. I'm hoping they pick it up. But it'll be tough.
Yeah.
The way they're playing, they don't look like they're on fire.
I think the only way that they lose is if EL Gaming plays on the defensive side like they did against you guys.
And I don't think they will, because EL trains enough and put enough time and effort in.
They'll learn off that, yeah.
I assume they're doing what they did previously, which is training 40-48 hours a week. They shouldn't make those mistakes. It's a very rare mistake. You don't see that very often from EL.
No, definitely not. I don't think I've seen it since this season.
No.
So, I guess it comes down to this one. I mean, if it does come down to this one on Ruinberg, yeah, maybe there's a chance Caren Tiger on the defense. But even that, I still feel like EL Gaming pretty good on the attack of Ruinberg, and you say it should be a 1-1. Yeah, maybe it should be.
Yeah.
But I feel like these teams are mismatched enough that EL Gaming can pick up the attacking side on Ruinberg.
Yeah, of course they can.
It's Caren Tiger.
No doubt that they can't win. But I'm just saying, Ruinberg defense should win. We'll see.
Guess we have to find out. Should Sand River defense win? Maybe.
I still don't, I don't actually know. I haven't played it enough to know if he's really favoring any side. I would say, honestly, I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be really horrible to play, but I think I mentioned earlier, I kind of enjoy it so far. Probably the only thing is you can't really, as a defender, utilize the map too much. You take positions on one side and then you sit there. It's not steps for me, which is, as you know, TE's favorite map.
All right, well, Saf, let's see if you are going to be correct in your prediction today. Is EO Gaming going to be able to close it out here? 5-1 over Caren Tiger would secure a pretty good start to the week for themselves. They are playing 3 matches this week. They've got 2 tomorrow, one of them being a reschedule from last week. But obviously, want to start off pretty nicely here. Hokyao, nice shot early on in the piece onto Mordame. M48 Pat coming out again here. This time, though, it is Hokyao.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Mordame, how he was driving and why he did that.
Maybe in a difficult position here. Hellcry, oh, you need to hit that shot. Polly just gets absolutely wrecked. Well, guess my prediction's wrong. What? I don't know what Caren Tiger's doing here.
I know EL is going very aggressive, but I'm not... Yeah, I actually missed where CT managed to throw away a tank that quickly. I'm guessing they just overextended. They saw one tank, thought it was a scouting run, someone thought they had better shots than they did.
This is over, man. There's no way that Caren Tiger comes back from this. EL Gaming is doing EL Gaming things. They push in, they do damage. They get such an advantage that even if they didn't start to over-aggress, they just throw things at you and you die, basically. So, look at Hokyao just farming damage, man. This is so good for my fantasy team. Except I would have liked to have seen this game go a bit longer, and then I could have farmed more points.
Yeah.
But realistically speaking, Caren Tiger's just folded. Completely folded.
Yeah. Yes, there's not really much to say. Alien last one alive. STRV. Can he be the hero they deserve? Probably not.
No. Nah. I'm ready to concede defeat already. This is going to be 5-1.
You're not positive any longer?
No, I'm not positive.
Okay.
At least what I said last round where EO Gaming's looking really good on Sand River is going to be correct, at least.
Indeed.
So 5-1 there for EO Gaming.
Oh,
what a quick day.
Just going to say, is this where I stand up?
You do your mic drop? You can try. You'll probably get stuck and trip over like you did before.
Probably tangle and get stuck somewhere.
Okay.
Predicting is skill, to say.
Predicting is luck. I'm pretty sure I heard you say about an hour ago.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so 5-1 there, EL Gaming. They wrapped that up against Caren Tiger very easily. Caren Tiger, it wasn't like... Again, I didn't think Caren Tiger looked as bad tonight as they did against Lupin last week, but they just certainly didn't show up.
I disagree. I don't mean to be harsh here, but Lupin is a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, for sure.
So, even though they were really unsynced today, against Lupin they can get away with it because
Lupin
won't jump as hard.
I think they looked worse against Lupin than they did against EL Gaming tonight, even though it was a 5-4 and a 5-1 here.
I'm not sure. I think it was the same CT that rocked up. I'm a bit frustrated. I feel for CT because it's hard to dig yourself up from a hole, and especially when you're when things aren't going your way and when you're frustrated, it's really hard to dig yourself out of it. And everyone goes through their ups and downs, and I'm really hoping CT is going to be able to dig themselves out of this hole.
I hope so as well. Like, they were a very exciting team to watch last season.
Yeah.
And so if they were not to show up this season, I guess that's a little bit of a disappointment. But at the moment, you say you can dig yourself out of that hole, it's going to be tough. Every single week, every single game that they play where they lose is going to make that job even tougher.
And I'm not sure if it has something to do with the training schedule and how they're training with as well, because we obviously know that the training, they have the opportunity because of where they're located on the world map. They're training with some of the Russian silver teams and so on. They can train with both RU, EU, NA, and obviously here in APAC.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if them training with different meta and different tanks at different levels.
It could be a good point, right? Because we did see EO Gaming last season kind of going through a bit of a transition. They looked a bit shaky. You guys beat them. Horseman took them to 5-4. Meltdown took them to 5-4. They were certainly not as dominant as Season 1.
They tried to slow their play. But I'm not sure if that was because they're training in different regions. I think that was more so they just tried to change the way they play the game. Because
that's what I'm saying, though.
Okay, the fast way didn't work when they went overseas and international.
But is Caren Tiger falling into something similar? Because they're training against other regions, they're playing in a different meta.
I don't think the tempo is different. I think it's just... I don't know.
I hate production. It's awful.
Well... It's not like they're saying anything.
We have the worst production team here in APAC.
I actually like them.
You do?
Pretty good.
Okay.
The only thing is, next time, if I actually come up and do another cast at some stage, I would like to have a limo picking me up from the hotel. Just putting it out there, production.
Okay.
But yeah, back to what we were saying about...
You might get a ride in the Elfish Guy limo tonight.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Fair enough.
I had it cleaned yesterday.
Oh, nice one. Oh, well, let's hope you don't see the salty Swede.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope.
Indeed. But yeah, CT, what I was trying to say is CT hasn't really changed the way they're playing and the tempo they're playing. Maybe it's just that the way the teams are setting up on other regions is they're expecting to play their way, and then they come in and they get surprised by what's happening here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's happening. I just don't know, but I would like to see them do better.
Perhaps. I would definitely like to see them do better as well. You know, I thought this season was going to be the most competitive for that 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 position, even depending on where Horseman was playing.
Yeah.
But the way that Caren Tiger's playing, I mean, I guess it depends on how you guys go, really. It could be a 2-horse race between Yato and TE for position number 2.
Well, we have no idea where we stand. That's the frustrating thing for us as well. So, yeah, agreed.
And, you know, Caren Tiger not showing up at the moment. They're basically out of the running for that, at least at the moment. They're probably going to be playing to at least try and hope to get in the top 4.
Yeah.
But at this stage, well, I mean, they actually, I think they might even be towards the bottom. Well, they
it's
have
hard
got
to say because there's so many.
they've got 3 points off all the 3 tiebreaker losses, and they got a free win against Last Memories, so they'd be sitting on 6. So they might actually not be towards the bottom. But the form that they're in is certainly looking like they might not even be able to challenge teams like Lupin, teams like Last Memories.
They should.
They should.
But in saying that, they did lose to Dark Wolves last season as well. It was Lupin. They lost 5-4.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But that was at the end of the season when they knew they were going to finals.
But they still had a chance to pick us up. They were still in the running to catch up to us. Because our last game we didn't have a chance to pick up an EL, but they still had chances to win that second spot.
Right.
And that's when they really threw. But that game definitely meant something. But yeah, let's hope we see a different CT coming out soon.
Let's hope. Well, maybe we see that tomorrow. Of course, that is going to be the end of our show here tonight. We have had our 2 matches. We've had a couple of good wins. We've had 5-1, 5-1. But we do have one more day coming up this week. That is going to be tomorrow, starting at 2 PM GMT +8. I think I got it right this time. Anyway, guys, we'll see you then. Good night and happy tanking.
While Lambert winning. Both of them are 1 shot lead over there, but well, they lost the thing.
That's the game over. Nice. Down to a 1 shot here as well. Bit of a brawl going on.
So now they're taking Lambert out because Lambert went in on his own, like I said, down on the E line, which is...
actually does put a good shot into Rabbit, who's kind of forced to push forward here, really. Doesn't even penetrate that shot into the Type 5 Heavy, so... Apparently not.
Probably for Tech Ace, he's not going to get away.
Yeah. Where's the rest of Lupin? That's my question.
And this is the danger, and this is...
What are you going to do?
You will have confidence in my abilities. Not like JT.
Yeah. I was like, JT's like, oh, why aren't I worth all this money? And I was like...
Yeah, Black's going to go down to Helcry, which is good for them. If he gets our shot before it dips, yeah, Helcry held the shot, which is good. He still needs to get rid of Black.
And 1 does take damage. Mordame has gone down, Akio's a bit low. They've got some map control here, and Black's going to push in.
Yeah.
We'll take down Nuper in the back.
Rotations that we discussed, taking control of the 0 line, slowly start working the map back, and then slowly grading is not good. This should be EL finishing up the tanks there.
Great timing as well coming out here from M1 just to push in. He's got 1 more shot left in the clip. That's going to be enough. I guess considering Rattlesnake gets the kill anyway. It's going to be 5-1.
You're not positive any longer?
No, I'm not positive. At least what I said last round where EL Gaming's looking really good on Saturday was going to be correct, at least.
Indeed.
So 5-1 there.